Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Oh, hello. What's up, everyone? Hey, David, what's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, Destiny, what are you doing here?
Oh, good. Just took a little break from all the trouble that is going on with Nick Fuentes, so I decided to just jump over here and talk a little bit about unrelated things because I'm kind of sick of talking about Nick Fuentes the entire time because it's just he keeps calling me and keeps texting me and he keeps saying, "Come on, can you tell people it's not me?" And I don't want to deal with that right now, so I just decided to come here and talk about something else instead. So how are you doing?
When you said you were tired of it, I thought you were going to go in a different direction. With I'm glad you didn't. But I was like, oh no.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. I was walking around and saw that this wig was on the floor somewhere, so I thought, hey, well, I just put that on. Anyway, that is actually Molestini. That's not Destiny. It's a different guy. Molestini. David, what's up?
We're live discussing the collapse of the Assad regime in Syria. Is that basically what we're going to be discussing?
And we're going to discuss who these Islamist rebels are that everybody's talking about that brought about the collapse of the Assad regime.
The Islamist.
Assad, as the situation is, we have to talk about the facts. Because I said Assad was not the best guy. However, Assad as having Assad in charge is, there are other forces that may be worse.
You think?
Yeah. Yep. That's that. Oh, I forgot slow mode. No, I didn't. What are you talking about? All right. David, hey, we had an interesting live stream yesterday, didn't we? It was kind of
went in some weird directions occasionally, but that is crazy. See, look, there's something about the opening up the. Now you saw the problems with opening up the phone lines. You have people who just want to scream racial epithets and so on. So it's actually kind of hard to vet them. I think you can set your thing on like a delay system where you actually have time to bleep it if someone starts blurting stuff out. Anyway, it's something to think about for the future. We should figure out all that technology because, I mean, there were like over 4,000 people watching live as we just had calm, polite discussions with Muslims.
Oh yeah. Some of those Muslims were very nice. My favorite was Yahya. Yahya was very entertaining and very
good. And he was very rude to you.
Yeah,
deservedly. You deserved it from being so rude. But he could have been the better man and said, okay, even though AP's being very mean to my religion, and even though he's very terrible in the way he speaks, I'm gonna be the nicer guy here, but he didn't. But that's fine. That's up to
you. You know what I don't understand? Actually, I do understand it. I just find it very, very funny. Between you and me, it's like, what did I ever do that you didn't do?
I think everyone thought that was funny. Like, it's one thing when they're going, David and AP, why can't you be nice like this nice guy? But he's saying to you, AP, why can't you be nice like David Wood? Like David Wood, be nice like him.
I mean,
literally everyone is going, wait, what?
We are both equally offensive to the Islamic communities, and we have both just crossed all the lines that they can.
We're habitual line crossers. When they say, yes, you will not cross this line, we're like, oh, we won't, will we? And we do it.
But here's the thing. I would say my explanation to it is actually quite simple, which is that from the perspective of a Muslim, me doing something offensive toward Islam is much worse than you doing something offensive, because you are a Christian. And there is an endless line of possibilities for you to be, somehow talked to and changed and so on. There's always the factor of, oh, maybe we can win this guy over somehow. With me, it's like, this guy's a former Muslim. He's an apostate, disgusting, sick. Because of that, they see it as much worse when I do something.
I have noticed that. Remember, we had the exact same issue with Khalil, right? Khalil.
Yeah.
did an entire show with me and was very, very nice. We're calm, had an awesome discussion, and then he gets on with you, and it's like World War III erupts, and we're like, what the heck is going on here? I was the same mindset. Like we're basically on the same level as far as how we go about exposing Islam and what kind of rhetoric we use, and how quick we are to dial things up, and so on. So the fact that people treat you so differently, but what's really interesting here is that it's reversed among non-Muslims. So Muslims are, you and I could do the exact same thing, and they'll be more hostile to you if you're an ex-Muslim, whereas non-Muslims, like the content reviewer, the trust and safety teams of social media platforms and so on, if they see you and me do the exact same thing, they'll be angrier with me, because they'll be like, oh, well, he's Turkish, his name's Ridvan, he gets a pass. This must be a white supremacist if he's saying these. It must be race-based. They'd be more hostile towards me. So I don't know. I find this stuff fascinating.
Speaking of race-based, I do want to have some have another live stream very soon about Christianity and Nazi National Socialism. I think we need to finally have a live stream on that. If you want to arrange, if you want to do that, we should go through that. I have a Goebbels diaries with me, and I want to go through that.
Probably in your pocket. Probably keep them in your pocket.
Yeah. I have, instead of prayer books, I have that with me all the time. So we should probably have a live stream at the beginning of this week or so.
Yeah, we should. And dare I say, at some point, you should make a 10-minute video, just going through some of those quotes from your hero.
I shall, inshallah. In
fact, if you had a brain in your head, you'd make the short video. Then during a live stream, we'd go into much more detail and explain to everyone how they should share the shorter video and spread it all over the place, and actually go out and do the work of looking up everyone who's spouting idiotic stuff on Twitter, and how to go to every one of them and share that video.
That's true. That's true.
People hear the truth.
That's what they do. Oh, by the way, there's also the other factor of you being white. Speaking of Yahya's reaction to you and me, white people are greater gods than Allah Himself in the Muslim world.
So you're saying that that's another issue that's reversed. Like you're saying that from a Muslim perspective, oh, this white guy, he's so great. We have to be very respectful towards him. Whereas in the non-Muslim world, it's he's white, he needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah. Exactly. Alhamdulillah.
Interesting.
Alhamdulillah. Nick. Speaking of Nick Fuentes, people are mentioning that he just got arrested or something. Yeah. Apparently, he did get arrested over charges of battery. And we were just talking about what a bad month it is for Nick Fuentes.
Yeah. So he got doxxed. Which is even for someone as evil and twisted and stupid and so on as Nick Fuentes, it is messed up to dox him, because you are talking about, endangering someone's life in that situation. And
AP, I don't care.
AP wouldn't care. AP wouldn't care. It's a dangerous precedent to set where, here's all these people that I disagree with. Let me go give everyone a roadmap to their houses. It's a bad route to go, because then everyone's going to be doing it and it's going to suck, and then everyone's in trouble. So that sucks. With that said, man, he reacted like crap. Just goes straight out of his door. Now I don't get it. I guess it's battery. People are saying, "Oh, this lady deserved it. This lady deserved it." I mean, she's knocking on his door and stuff like this, and then he comes straight out and pepper sprays her or something like that.
Well, the thing is, I think it's a multi. It's not just his home. It's not just a family home. I think there are multiple apartments. And she rings the bell, and he just comes out. The guy who acts like tough. Yeah, we are alpha males, and he comes out and he goes and pepper spray in her face. And goes back inside. The thing is, I also have an issue with doxing people, of course. Something that I don't have an issue with, in all honesty. And yes, you could twist that, and you could say, you could reinterpret this and apply it to different people by different standards and so on. But somebody like this, who builds an entire community on justifying, excusing, and in fact advocating for mass murders and genocides and the Holocaust and things like that, I think he deserves everything, to be very honest.
See, the dude's an all around scumbag and so on. There kind of needs to just be a line, like a no doxing line. Okay, we're not going to cross that, because once we like, okay, you dox him, then all his fans are going to go out and find everyone they don't like and dox all them, and then you got freaking Nazis showing up at your door and stuff, and then you're ticked off, so you dox more, and all of a sudden, everything breaks down. So I'm in favor of a no crossing the doxing line. Do we seriously need to say here's where Nick Fuentes lives to crush him? No, just
look at this.
It's already happening all over the internet. What's up with that doorbell being all crooked?
What are you doing? Get the fuck out of here.
The funny thing is, he takes her phone. Why does he take her phone and shut the door? I don't even get it.
And why is this? Was she live or something? How did this video end up if he had the phone? How did this video end up online if he had the phone?
I don't know.
Was that live? Was she live while doing it?
Maybe she just recorded it, and I don't know why he got the phone, but.
Well, I'm saying if he got the phone, then how come he wouldn't have deleted that or something like that? That's why I'm wondering. Was she like on Facebook Live or something like this? Or
I don't know. But look at this. Like, she rings the bell and he just opens immediately and he's like,
Hi. Oh my God. What are you doing?
Should have had a mask on, Nick. Should have had a mask on and not spoken. And there would be no evidence.
I mean, is this what you would do if some random looking woman, some woman who looks like, wait, what's this she look like again?
Hold up. Go back to, what is he? Does he step on the phone? What's he do here?
He kicks it away.
Let's see. Oh, effeminate. Imagine what you, AP, imagine what you saw as his foot, right? And then you see his foot raising up and then coming down, wham, right on the phone. And then cut to black. That would have been, instead it's,
oh, let me just scooch this phone out of the way.
This here is the woman in question who went to his door.
I wasn't trying to dox him. I was looking for a cat to cook as part of my spell. Double, boil and trouble,
the thing is,
fire, burn.
He already got dogs, and she was like, wait a minute, he lives right next door. I'll just go and visit him. So she walks over there.
Oh, that's what she did.
And rings the doorbell, and then he just pepper sprays her.
Hi. Oh my God. What are you doing? Get the fuck out of here.
Anyway, that's Nick Fuentes for y'all.
Well, he only got the battery charge.
I think as far as I have seen,
I'm just saying, from a legal perspective, he did take her phone.
Nick Fuentes facing battery charge after Your Body, My Choice confrontation at his Illinois home. Shoved a woman and broke her phone. Huh, interesting.
He broke her phone in the most effeminate manner imaginable. Dude, I'm telling you, if you got a phone, point it up, and you get to destroy the phone somehow, you raise your foot all the way up, hold it there, hold your foot up in the air above it so everyone gets to see, and then you, bam, smash it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
His mugshot is going around everywhere. That is, for those who haven't seen it, here. So this is his mugshot after getting arrested. This is what it looks like. Just ignore the top. That is Jeffrey Dahmer, completely unrelated. But here you can see Nick Fuentes with his mugshot after getting arrested and being charged, which is very, very interesting. You know what the thing is? When I look at his face, sometimes it reminds me of Jeffrey Dahmer. But the thing is, when I put it together like this and compared them to each other, I noticed that this guy looks like a very German, like a very Nazi ideal of the Aryan man, whereas Nick Fuentes doesn't look like that at all.
Yeah, Dahmer's about. He's a. It looks like, I didn't know. Looks like he's in the 6'1", 6'2" range. He was a tall guy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes is some short little guy. So yeah,
They don't even have his numbers up there because he'd be like 5'2" or something.
I think he's barely 5. So anyway, here is a map that is on. Let's see if there are any updates here. This is on the live maps to follow all the action that is going on currently in the region in Syria.
Be careful when AP talks about following maps. We're not talking about following the Dawa guys.
That's true. That's true. There's a difference. So
yeah. Those are minor attracted persons.
Yeah.
If we change what we mean by map, see, right now we're talking about maps as in this. A map is in front of you, right? When we want to specifically be talking about minor attracted persons, aka lots of the Dawa guys, then we'll say that we're talking about maps in that other sense. Anyway, we just want to clarify.
That's good. Thank you for the clarification. That's very, very helpful. So here you can see the change. Here you can see the map that is currently that is available of the Syrian Civil War and the different factions that are currently roaming this place. The funny thing is, if we just go back, if we just play with the date a little bit and go to the end of November, it looks totally different. It looks like this. The red area here is where the Syrian government, led by Bashar al-Assad, is in charge. So this is all Bashar al-Assad. The yellow here is the Kurdish militia and Kurdish communities and their allies. This part here is under Turkish and Turkish-backed groups and their occupation.
Gobble.
This here as well. And then here there were rebel groups, including the HTS, the Al-Qaeda split Islamist group that is currently on the front fighting them all. This is where the Free Syrian Army is mostly in control at this point. This is 10 days ago. The Free Syrian Army was the initial rebel movement that was at the forefront of this whole rebellion and civil war 10 years ago. And there were some little minor presences here in the south. In the south, right next to the to the Israel border and close to Damascus, with the aim of going and taking Damascus. However, everything changed within a very, very brief time. Everything changed in a very brief time. Only 10 days later, suddenly, it turned into this. It turned into this. We suddenly have Assad and the Syrian government and regime having lost control of most of Syria. So it was all here red. They lost most of it. The ones that are light red here are currently in dispute. The gray ones here are under ISIS control. Those are where ISIS has some stronghold. The green ones here are led by the HTS, which we are going to go into, and other Islamic organizations that also work together with some nationalist organizations like the Free Syrian Army, for example, who also approached from the south and are now battling to take over Damascus. They suddenly, in a lightning invasion, expanded from here and went over and took Aleppo, very shockingly. That was on Thanksgiving Day.
Did you say a blitzkrieg?
Yes. Blitzkrieg. Then they took Hama, which was a very, very significant place, and one of the most significant cities here, Homs. Homs. They took Homs here and left the Syrian government disabled.
I just have to say, on behalf of everyone who's watching, AP,
yes,
you literally, right before going through this map, you were talking about Nick Fuentes. You just got to be careful when you're saying things like approach from the south and so on. After the stuff about Destiny and Nick, talking about approaching from the south. Anyway, people are going to choose your words more carefully, man.
Yes. I just want to clarify that. That's a good point. So I'm not talking about gay sexual intercourse.
Or minor attracted persons. All you sick perverts who are watching this stuff. We're talking about a civil war right now. A civil war.
Yes. So the Nick Fuentes case is closed. We're not talking about
Keep that separate.
gay sex anymore. That is,
Separate video.
we are done
We
with that.
apologize for bringing it up in the same video because you guys have sick, perverted minds.
Yes, yes.
Talk
That is
about different
already,
things.
we're done with that.
A map is this thing you see in front of you, not Daniel Hakikachu or something. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, that's right. That's right. The thing is, when you look at the news and when you look at the commentary, the online commentary of people and their reactions, lots of people who have hated the Assad regime forever are celebrating and mocking the rapid fall of Assad. He's about to lose the only major city left in his hands, Damascus, where the government is. It's about to be lost. The fight, they are surrounding it from all sides. They are brutally attacking. Apparently, this was an operation by HTS and other affiliated groups that was in preparation for years, just to lay low and to prepare for a major advance, a major attack. And they succeeded with it. They suddenly took over almost the entirety of Syria in a very, very short time. They are about to lose Damascus. If Damascus is gone, it's going to be the Syrian government is going to be completely collapsed. They will have this part here left, which is where Islamist groups don't have much support because this western coastal part is very much Shia and Alawi, which is the sect that Bashar al-Assad belongs to. They are very much populating this area. This is where the Islamist Sunni groups don't have that much help and advance. They have this area left. The government of Syria will be gone, and it will fall into the hands of the HTS, which is the Islamist jihadist group. And the one thing that people have questions about is this eastern part here, which is under Syrian, which is under Kurdish forces and their control. Lots of the Christians in areas where HTS just took over fled over to the Kurdish territories to feel safe, because they know that the Kurds would not mistreat them and they would protect them, and that they don't have the Islamist mindset and they don't align themselves with the Islamists. The Kurds want to simply keep a stronghold here and defend their communities, prevent Islamists and all others from taking their lands.
And from there to conquer Turkey.
Yes, inshallah. They also were very brave, very, very solid and very brave in fighting back against ISIS. The thing about the Kurdish
Kurds go hard, man.
part
Kurds go
is
hard.
the Kurds were mostly people who didn't, prepare for any war or anything at all. The others were wildly going for establishing an Islamic State, overthrowing Assad, and so on. The Kurds here, in the middle of everything that broke out, simply wanted to seize the opportunity to have their own autonomy and to protect themselves from these invasions and Islamist mistreatments. ISIS committed brutal atrocities against the Kurds, but they fought back against ISIS with the help of America. And have done a great job so far. So I hope they can prevail. The thing is, the worry is if Islamists take over and if they are then the only force left and the Assad regime is no longer there, then the Kurds are a little bit worried about what is going to happen now. Because the Islamists want to unite Syria and want to make it Islamist again.
Yeah, so right now they're focusing on Assad. So they've got two fronts. There, but they only have to attack in one direction right now. Once they defeat Assad, which seems like inevitable at this point, then they have one main front that they can focus on, which would be the Kurds.
The Kurds.
Hey, by the way, P, as far as the timing goes and their success, is that we've touched on it a bit in the past, because Assad could call up at will Hezbollah fighters and stuff, say, hey, go fight these guys for me. He had Iran on his side. He had Russia on his side. And so it's Assad aligned with Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia. And he was able to keep them at bay for a while. Now Russia's been swamped in Ukraine. They did do some bombings and stuff like that, some aerial bombings and so on like that. Obviously wasn't very effective. Iran is crumbling from within, and everyone hates Iran. And Hezbollah just got their entire leadership annihilated by Israel. So as far as who else do they have on their side besides Syrian girl? So now it's Assad and the Assad regime and Syrian girl. I haven't even looked at her page. I assume she's losing her mind right now.
She is. She is. She was she was acting like Syria strong. Syria will be victorious. Syria will do this. She was even a few days ago. She was saying soon the Syrian flag will be over Tel Aviv. She was saying things like that, and then suddenly the attack started, and Syria is completely. Assad is in shambles, and she doesn't know what's going on, and she's now speaking of sacrifices and speaking as if she knows that Syria is done. And
seriously, like, I mean, she's been Assad's biggest fangirl for all this time. What do you do when all that's gone? And Syria is like, there's zero hope of you even ever getting the Syria that you want back. It's just done. Your entire life's purpose is done.
She can always go back to Syria. The thing is, the thing with Syrian girl is that she lives in Australia and doesn't have to give up anything at all.
Well, that's what I mean. But it's been like her life's purpose. Like once your life's purpose is done,
except the paycheck that she gets from Assad. There's probably a deal that she can figure out that she can just go to Russia and be paid by Russia.
Be Putin's biggest fangirl again.
Yeah. Because they're all in this, and this is the thing. There are now news going around. Apparently, Assad is making statements hinting at wanting to work together with the West and finding a solution.
Yeah,
because his allies are not helping anymore. It's all useless. But the response to that is very much, bro. It's a little bit late for that. You should have thought about that much sooner before fighting everyone and aligning yourself with Iran and Russia.
Iran, Hezbollah, and Russia. Those were your go-to guys. Now they're failing you and you're losing. And it's, actually, U.S. and Israel, will you be my new friends? And they're going, no. I mean, think about this. I mean, it might actually be in other people's interest matter of fact, it would be better for lots of people involved if Assad was in power rather than the Salafi jihadis. But people, we don't trust you, bro. We don't trust you at all, man. You can't just be like, oh, you're the best buddy of all our worst enemies in the world, and they're not helping you. Oh, you're gonna switch and be on our side now. Nope. You looks like you're on your own now.
Powerful stuff.
But he'll be fine. He'll get out of there, and I'm sure he has like mafia dudes would always have if you were high up, you'd have a suitcase full of money, or you'd have a stash that you could fall back on if you just needed to go disappear and still large. I'm sure he's got millions and millions and millions stashed away on some other place.
I don't know about that. I don't know. The thing is that the guys who are currently approaching and wanting to bring down Assad, their opposition and their hate for Assad is really not to be taken lightly.
Oh, I'm just saying he's not going to be there. He'll get out of there and he's going to be somewhere else in the world with piles and piles of money on some tropical island. He's just not going to run Syria anymore. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the individual and his family, everyone else is screwed. The individual and his family, Assad and his family are going to be fine. They're going to be somewhere else. And I'm sure he's got plenty of cash stacked up for just a situation.
There's currently not enough clarity on where he actually is. But right now, the thought is that he is actually still in Damascus, although there were reports that he fled the country already. Apparently, he sent his family away. Smart. His family was sent to Russia. But he himself is there. Donald Trump said this. Opposition fighters in Syria in an
Wrong.
unprecedented move.
Opposition fighters in Syria. In an unprecedented move. It's unprecedented. People say I'm unprecedented. That's true. That's true. We're totally taken over numerous cities in a highly coordinated offensive and are now on the outskirts of Damascus. Beautiful city. Love the city. Would like to build a golf course there. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with me, jihadis. Like to build a golf course. Obviously preparing to make a very big move toward taking out Assad. Russia, because they're so tied up in Ukraine. Bad idea. Bad move. Bad move. Some people say I colluded with Russia. Not true. Not true. And with the loss there of over 600,000 soldiers, seems incapable of stopping this literal march through Syria, a country they have protected for years. Sad. Must be sad. Must feel like the Democrats doing all this work and then it doesn't work out. Sad. This is where former President Obama refused to honor. He's basically the worst president in history until Joe Biden. Not as bad as Kamala would have been, though.
Sleepy
Not
Joe.
as bad as Kamala. But he was the worst up until his time, Obama. And he refused to honor his commitment of protecting the red line in the sand. Democrats, they won't do it. They won't protect the red lines. And all hell broke out. It's what happens. What happens when you don't have Donnie Trump in charge, with Russia stepping in. That's what Russia does when they smell weakness. That's why they never would have tried this if I'd been in charge. That's why they're doing it now. But now they are, like possibly Assad himself, being forced out. That's what happens. What we're going to do, we're going to force a lot of people out, mass deportations. And it may actually be the best thing that can happen to them. Forced deportations, mass deportations. You just heard it here, folks. Could be the best thing that ever happened to anyone. There was never much of a benefit in Syria for Russia, other than to make Obama look really stupid. And in that they succeeded. He did. He looked really stupid. Looked really bad. Really bad. Not as bad as Joe Biden looked when he pulled out of Afghanistan and gave billions and billions of dollars to the terrorists. In any event, Syria is a mess, like everything that the Democrats touch. But is not our friend, and the United States should have nothing to do with it. This is not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. And afterwards, everyone will see that once again, Trump was right. Once they're sitting there in Syria, eating the dogs, eating the cats, because they have nothing left
You're
to
supposed
eat.
to do this, man. You're supposed to do this with your hands.
Eating the dogs, eating the cats. Eating the dogs, eating the cats, eating the pets because they have no food. They'll all be wishing that they had stood by Donnie Trump, but they didn't.
I have to say, your emphasis
And you're fired. What?
Your pronunciation and emphasis on Joe Biden is very spot on.
Yeah, Joe Biden.
Sleepy Joe. So yeah, that's the situation. Donald Trump says we shouldn't get involved. He basically said F Syria. So that's basically what he said. Literally. So that's what's happening here. As we speak, the red gets smaller and smaller. It's kind of funny. I feel like it's smaller than it was just when we just looked at it.
Yeah, every time you hit update, it's just imagine there's no red left by the time we finish this.
That'll be funny. That'll be funny. Rebels have entered the Republican palace in Damascus after withdrawal of Assad soldiers. Oh shoot! 8 minutes ago.
Republican palace in Damascus.
Pro-Assad force soldiers in Damascus, Mazia, are leaving their positions and saying the regime has fallen. Oh my! Wow!
I did see that. I wasn't sure whether to take it seriously, but I saw on Twitter the regime has fallen. I saw Assad's soldiers were taking off their uniforms and dressing as civilians so they could try and ease on out. Try and ease on down the road.
الله حيو امو الله حيو استراد مزي استراد المزي 2024 انتاج المهجش العربي السوري يوم شو التاريخ؟ شوف التاريخ اليوم الاحد قديش 12/8 سجلوه عندكم.
What is happening here? And why is it I have unrelated translations? Probably it's because it's an automated thing. But so the regime has fallen. That's what they say. They're leaving their
What they
places.
do.
They're leaving their places. They're eating the dogs.
They are basically right now, they're doing the exact same thing that the Afghani forces did when the Taliban was marching on them.
Now, here is the thing. Of course, with all of this going on, it was very much predictable from when they took Aleppo and then marched southward that the Syrian regime was really unprepared for this. They were stupid enough to live in their comfort right now and thinking, "Oh yeah, we got the situation under control, man." They were destroyed, humiliated within a very short time. Yeah, I know. I noticed that the subtitles were not were apparently automatic. They perceived it as English, which is why it didn't make any sense. But yeah, so that's what happened. They are almost fallen, and now that they have fallen, and now that the HTS, the party in charge of the rebel advance right now, took over, and it seems that they are going to establish a new government, the new Syria. Of course, people started talking to them. And the CNN, of course, did something very, very cute, as CNN always does, and went
taking
there.
Hama after taking Aleppo. I mean, how?
And went there, and this woman put a scarf on her head to submit herself and sit in front of the jihadist leader to be humiliated and to give him a comfortable platform and to explain himself to us and to help amplify and emphasize his good message and his good plans for the future and so on. And of course, he made a lot of promises, talked a lot about how everything's going to be fine, we're going to take care of the situation and all that, basically like what the Taliban did. But I want to look at what the HTS is, their ideology, their history, and also look through this interview a little bit, where this little subservient woman went and turned herself into a subject for the Islamists.
CNN is very strong.
You see, this is the sick thing about CNN. Like, if you have a slight right-wing attitude in the West, they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And then they go to the literal Islamists and give them a comfortable platform.
Yes, let's just honor you in every way. Would you like for me to be down on my knees during this interview and looking up at you as a big, strong man?
By the way, I can do anything you like me to do just for this interview. And by everything, I really mean everything.
I will literally sell my soul for this interview. Because you guys are so based.
So based. So based.
Let's have a little look before we go into listening to the interview at the track record, at the resume or the CV of who these guys are. So the leader here in question is Abu Muhammad al-Jolani. Jolani, the name should maybe worry Israelis a little bit, because Jolani means Golani, from the Golan, Golan Heights. That is because, here. The Nisba al-Jolani is his nom de guerre, in his nom de guerre, is a reference to Syria's Golan Heights, mostly occupied and annexed by Israel during the Six-Day War in 1967. Al-Jolani released an audio statement in which he said he would fight the United States and its allies. Anyway, let's look at this guy's track record here. So, his allegiances. Right now, he is with the Syrian Salvation Government, which is a bigger government that is led by his group, his organization, which is the HTS, which stands for Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Alhamdulillah, which literally means Organization for the Liberation of Sham, or the Levant. He was part of Al-Qaeda from 2003 to 2016. In fact, he was appointed to a leadership position inside Al-Qaeda. He was, from 2004 to 2006, part of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, Mujahideen Shura Council. He was part of the Islamic State, ISIS. He was an ISIS member. The very same guys who blew themselves up across Europe and the West, and who ran trucks into people, and had mass shootings, and had mass executions, and took sex slaves in Syria, and so on. He was part of the Al-Nusra Front, which is an Al Qaeda offshoot that operates in Syria, and then he became part of an organization that preceded his organization now, the Al-Nusra Front's offshoot, Jabha Fatah al-Sham. He split from all of that and is now in charge of the group that we are talking about, Tahrir al-Sham, that is currently at the forefront, leading the Islamist rebellion and taking over Syria. Now, what is this group? Is this group a reasonable group that people should be happy about? Is this better than Bashar al-Assad? It's not. This group, their main disagreement with ISIS and Al-Qaeda is not that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are too extreme. That's not the disagreement. The disagreement is not an ideological or religious disagreement. The disagreement is very much on ISIS and Al-Qaeda are very strict that they want a global caliphate, and that is what everything should be focused on. And if you have local organizations and local movements, like Al-Qaeda in Syria, for example, that should only serve to collect the Syrian faction or the Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda in order to then make it part of the greater caliphate. So both ISIS and Al-Qaeda have this ideology of establishing a global caliphate and not focusing on nationalist ideals, on keeping the fight within your borders. This movement, so Jolani and his HTS movement, split from that idea and opposed that idea by saying, we can't really make that work right now. We have a situation here in Syria. We will focus on Syria only and will not make any promises or anything toward anything outside Syria. All we want is to take Syria entirely from the hands of the secularists and the Shia and establish an Islamic state right here, a Sharia state right here. That's what they are aiming for. So they want a Sharia state, and it's also not a religiously different Sharia state. It is an Islamic state that will be based on Salafi jihadism, Salafi Islam, which is the very same ideology that ISIS and Al-Qaeda both employ. It is actually worse than the Taliban. The Taliban doesn't follow Salafism. They follow Hanafi Islam, which is a rather moderate in comparison, Islamic ideology that, for example, Turks and Pakistanis and others are regularly part of. It's not an extremist group inside Islam. Islam itself is very much extreme anyway. But Salafis are hardcore, hardline, reactionary, ultra-traditionalist, 7th century is the ideal way to go kind of Muslims. And their jihadist kinds are those who ruin the world and are enemies of humanity. And HTS is part of that. Their ideology is the Salafi ideology which they lead with. And they are currently taking over.
Hey, quick question, because you study this more than I do. Now you have all these over and over again. I see Sham.
Yes.
And Levant.
Yes.
And you're talking about these guys saying, "Hey, we just want our Sharia compliant hellhole in Syria." But Sham refers to more than that. It's Syria, that's Lebanon, Israel, Gaza, Jordan. That's all of that. That's all part of Sham.
Mm-hmm.
Sham. And so they want all of that. So claims about we just want Syria, that would be kind of like a stepping stone, right? Like, hey, we want to get Syria. That's all we want. We want to get the secularists out of Syria. That would be a stepping stone, right? It would be, hey, let's consolidate power here. Wait a while, get stronger and stronger and stronger. and then start getting the rest of Sham, right?
Here's the thing. Sham normally locally in today's time in Syria refers to can also colloquially refer to Damascus itself. So the city of Damascus is called Sham in Arabic, but it also refers to Syria itself. But the thing is, the problem with this is it just refers to Syria right now without specifying any borders, because it is the term that is used for the greater Levant area, for greater Syria and Lebanon and beyond. So yes, the Levant is what Sham actually is, but right now Sham, from their perspective, from the Syrian perspective, in the Middle Eastern context, would normally refer to Syria only. However, it also does transcend that in a way. And when people talk about, even in Syria or in the Middle East, when they talk about Sham, they may talk about the Levant as a whole. And that was, for example, what ISIS was going for as well. When they were talking about Sham, it wasn't just about Syria; it was about greater Syria, which would mean the Levant. Which is why, for example, with ISIS, whenever they said Sham, the West would just translate it as Levant or Syria, but what is meant is greater Syria, which is the Levant. So you are right in the fact that the ambitions are not just for Syria. It is usually for the greater Syria region. And the greater Syria region is not a joke. It is it is basically what you call the Levant, or even more. People, groups, factions inside Syria will perceive Sham as different things. For example, let me bring up. There are some conceptual maps on this. I'm pretty sure there's an article on that. There are movements like the nationalist movements inside Syria who use Sham to refer to what they ideally see as the greater Syria region, which would be not only southward but also eastward most of the region. Let's see. So you have this here, this perspective here, which would be greater Syria, which is kind of a very, very ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
But primarily, it would include what is here dark green, which would also include Israel. This region here, which would be the Levant, which is historically Sham. So
and by the way, and Cyprus, as you see.
Yes, yes. So it is an interesting thing, the whole Sham wording. And the Islamists are not known to contain themselves to one little goal.
Yeah, I think it would. I'm guessing if they can actually take over Syria, they're going to want to spend at least a few years consolidating power and so on. Might mess around with the Golan Heights a little bit, especially since that's what their hero's named after. But I would guess they don't want to make their true ambitions obvious at the beginning, because they don't want too many people stepping in. They are loving life right now with a weakened Russia and a weakened Iran and a weakened Hezbollah and no one backing Assad right now. They're loving life.
This is ISIS's map. This is what they were describing as Sham.
Yeah,
here.
How'd that work out for them?
So in the ISIS perspective, which the leader Jolani was also a part of, this was Sham here. All of this, including the Sinai Peninsula, all of the coastal area split from Mesopotamia here down to parts of Arabia. Very, very, very messed up. None of that is going to happen. The thing is that everyone is scared of Israel. In this conflict, everybody is scared of Israel. So it would be very stupid and very delusional for any party here to try to mess with the borders of Israel, unless they achieve a certain amount of goals and then become overconfident and think, hey, we can take on Israel, we can totally do this, man, and then try to do something. I would say if they try to attack Israel from the point that where they are, it would be a very brutal end for them.
No, I don't think that. I think they're going to deal with the leftovers of the Assad regime, then focus on probably the Kurdish areas and so on. Take over Syria and then focus on hanging on to it for a while.
Yeah.
Until they're strong enough. If they just keep trying to expand until everyone crushes them, then they're really stupid.
They stupid.
Stupid.
The thing is, there's a lot more here at play, which is that Turkey was behind supporting much of the advances that HTS and the rebel groups here have made.
Wait,
And-
Our NATO ally, Turkey?
Yes.
Huh. If I didn't know better,
Oh, yeah,
which
well,
I don't, I might think
You can
they
even-
don't have our best interests in mind.
you could even see it here on Wikipedia under allies. The only state ally here, aside from those that people made allegations about, is Turkey. It's quite funny. So Turkey has interests in the region, which are nationalist interests. Turkey wants to establish a small puppet region or directly annex parts of Syria. They aim for taking parts of Aleppo or taking parts closer to Aleppo in the north here, and also taking parts of this. And Turkey also is scared of Kurdish independence and Kurdish autonomy, because Turkey itself has a major Kurdish population, which is in this region here, and they are scared that if Kurds become independent in Syria, this will encourage the Kurds in Turkey to be even stronger and be even more ambitious toward independence, and Turkey doesn't want that.
Hey, you think it's hey, you jihadis, we're going to back you. We're going to back you in going after Assad and taking over Syria, but you have to crush the Kurds as well.
Yeah. Or keep them in check.
The
thing is, Turkey might also have made behind the scenes agreements saying we want to have control without objections over certain areas. So they might just be looking toward annexing those places with the help of these Islamists. And the Islamists might have made compromises because the civil war has been going on for so long now. They probably did make some compromises. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Kurds. I'm just worried about that. The Kurds, from me, my personal perspective, I think the groups in here, the Syrian government and the Islamists rebelling, they can all go to hell. All of these. The only faction here, the only part that I consider fundamentally good and worth protecting and supporting are the Kurds. The Kurds are not trying to take over anything, not trying to murder anyone, not trying to mass kill and enslave anyone. All they want is to live and to have their own independence and have their own land and have their safety while welcoming different populations. The non-Muslim Yazidi Kurdish populations, the Christians, the Druze and others, they are open to everyone. They just want to have a peaceful society where they are no longer oppressed by the others. I would say that they are the only ones who are fundamentally good in this conflict. The rest, if it was for me, I think that the secularist and the Islamist ones should just eradicate each other and be done with it. That'll be very funny. That'll be hilarious. I also made my own proposition, which of course I'm in charge of partitioning countries. So here's what I proposed. I proposed that the southern part here should be part of Israel, Greater Israel. This northern part here with parts of Turkey should be turned into Kurdistan.
No, it's good you went with Kurdistan and not other names you've suggested.
Yeah. This part of Turkey should be given to Greece. Has nothing to do with Syria, but still, just since it's a map, why not? The secular Shia Alawi part should have a little Syria here. It can be called Little Syria, and the rest of it can be kind of like no man's land.
Yeah, big no-go zone, like no laws. Just hey, anyone
Yeah.
who wants to go and kill and get killed, all you jihadis, all jihadis of the world can just go and duke it out there.
Yeah, they could just like build a massive wall around here and some buffer zones, and then anyone in the world who wants to go and fight and kill and die could just go here and join it and be like jihadi, Allahu Akbar, and go die. That'd be perfect. Perfect. The world needs something like this.
Yeah, AP is the best of
planners,
map makers.
Yeah, and
you're always the expert in maps.
I did think of Turkey, so I just decided to put it in the water here in the sea. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't really matter. So that's my proposition. Pretty sure that's how it's going to work out, inshallah. Anyway, let's look at a few super chats before we get to listening to this beauty, not
super based babe.
This beauty here. Let's see. Sankey Sultan Erdogan al-Mongoli just conquered all of Syria in a week. Doesn't it rekindle AP's national pride as a wolfman? Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. I think Erdogan is a donkey. Big donkey. Village people. Thank you, village people. Ida Rogozin said, relax.
That was funny. Hey, when that guy was going, relax, it reminded me of when Hijab was going, good boy, and I'm like, no, I'm not. We're not reacting like Dershowitz here. We're gonna shut this down right now.
I noticed that you were not receiving the relax very well. So
yeah, no, it really does. You could tell the difference. You can tell the difference between the guys who are like, we are superior to you, and we're gonna act like we get to control you and tell you what to do. It's like, no, you don't. I mean, how many times have I said that the word they need to learn most is no. Just no. Quit giving people what they want. You do that, no. Well, I say you do that, no. We're doing it. Okay, now I'm gonna rip up your Quran in front of your face. What are you gonna do about it?
And then he said, what did he say?
He said, I piss on your whole family.
Oh, I piss on you and your family. Yeah, okay.
I just ripped up your book, dude.
It's kind of a shame because I was kind of curious about what he was going to say about Psalms and
yeah, I wanted to see it too. That's the problem, right? That's the lesson you're trying to. When you're doing something like that, you're actually planning for the future, right? It's like, guys, if you actually want to present a case, then don't do this. Don't do these things. These are lines that you would cross that you do not need to cross. Don't cross these lines. Make your point. Don't cross these lines. If you cross these lines, we're going to cross some lines too.
Alhamdulillah. Anyway, maybe one day we can have a talk once again.
I bet he doesn't disrespect like that again.
Pants Leatherstrap said, could for those of you that had to pray, say a small prayer for my cousin James in intensive care from a hit and run in Auckland yesterday. Thanks, guys. Whoa, man.
Man, hit and runs suck. There are no cameras and stuff.
That's terrible.
You don't even know what happened.
That's awful. Awful. Wish you all the best. Billy Block said, why is there a civil war? Could it be because it's multicultural? It's because there's multi-religion. That's what it's all about.
And a party of those are jihadis who are obsessed with taking over the world.
This is just what happens when you have Islam.
Islam ruins everything it touches.
There is no peace with Islam. Look. There is no peace with Islam. You know what I always find, what I'm always curious about when Sunni and Shia are brutally fighting again? The one thing that I'm curious about is, I wonder what these guys over here are doing. Let's see. The Ibadis. I wonder what they are doing. I wonder what they are doing. Where's the map, man? I want to look at another map.
I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map.
So you have here the Sunnis all over, and the Shia fighting with the Sunnis, and Sunni Shia infighting, brutally killing each other. And then you have here a third group that are the Ibadis.
Very strong.
And while everyone is fighting, they are just in Oman, not fighting with anyone, just living there. I always wonder, whenever Muslims fight, whenever Sunnis and Shiites fight, I wonder what these guys are doing here, what they are thinking. I wonder if they think, don't we have it nice over here? Don't we have it quite nice over here? Alhamdulillah.
Or is it, hope these guys keep fighting each other, because if one side ever wins, they're going to be coming for us.
Inshallah. That'll be funny. The funny thing is, Oman, which follows Ibadi Islam, which many people don't even know is a thing, also shows that you could actually technically follow Islam in a way without constantly resorting to trying to kill each other and kill everyone else.
See, AP just admitted that Islam is a religion of peace.
But that's only if you adopt a form of Islam that most Muslims will never accept. Because most Muslims accept forms of Islam that are all about conquest and subjugation and humiliation and destruction and all that. The Ibadis are just the third way guys who said, you know what, we don't care about the whole thing anymore, the whole caliphate issue anymore. Alhamdulillah. Pads, leather straps. Good for those of you. Oh, yeah. Giant disc with Banda. Hey, AP, I saw your debate with IP on theism from 3 years ago. You got cooked. Also, what's Gaza's national bird? A drone. It is. I know that was, I would say,
drone. That's funny.
I almost wanted to repost my debate that I had with IP, because that was just one day Cameron asked me if I want to have a debate on atheism and Christianity. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then and then with IP.
And, hey, and I have to say, as someone who has been your debate partner repeatedly, we don't have the best track record of preparing for debate. We normally prepare. Good case scenario for us, we start preparing the day before.
Yeah.
Bad case, we're like, okay, we got a couple hours before the debate. Let's get ready. Meanwhile, you're going against someone like IP, who stays prepared, but if he has a debate coming up, I know, because when he was debating, he was doing a debate, and he sent me his opening statement like 4 months before the debate. And he's like, hey, so I got my opening statement, and here's all the stuff I'm reading. And I'm like, it's 4 months or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The debate. Yeah, I'm like, it is 4 months.
He sent it to me as well.
Yeah, I'm like, it's 4 months before the debate, and you are already more prepared than I have ever been for any debate. And it's 4 months ahead of time.
He does this thing. He prepares for a debate, and then he sends it to a few people to look at it and add whatever they or make notes wherever they think something is of significance to add, and so on. And I looked at it, and yeah, exactly months before the debate, he sends me this file. He sends me his whole collection of everything that he wants to go through and the line he wants to pursue in his debate. And I'm thinking, wow, man, this is just...
Now, to be fair, the downside of that is, which we just saw when he had the debate with that sociologist, that atheist sociologist, like you could tell the look on his face, like, I just did all that preparation and this guy's using these stupid arguments right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, the downside is you could prepare, and it was all a big kind of waste of time because you didn't need to prepare that much. But the overall, it's probably really good idea to be super prepared for debates like IP is. So glad he's on our side.
The only debate that I think so far that I actually prepared for more lengthily, which was also very much just with 1 day before the debate, was the last debate that I had with Daniel Hikichu about Israel.
When you crushed and humiliated him.
And the thing is,
although you'd been kind of preparing over time, because you were always talking about that and doing research, so you were kind of preparing indirectly.
Yeah, the thing is, I was also intensively researching around that time the whole Israel thing and different things about it, and also I got in touch with different people. No, that's right. You're right. I also I even had a call. He even had a call with with Dr. Einat Wolf. I think she was, and she really changed my mind on things. That was amazing, man. It was like I had never even talked to her before, and I just contacted her and said, "Hey, I'm going to have a debate about Israel. Would you be willing to have a conversation with me? I have a few questions." And she was like, "Yeah, are you available later today?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. Can I call you?" "Yes." "Okay, fantastic." That was amazing. But I sat down the day before to write down everything that I want to go through as a result of everything that I have studied. I also suddenly, after having that conversation with her, changed everything, my whole approach. I deleted everything and started from the very beginning. And then I specifically focused on just embarrassing him and being a being a jerk to him. Because that's what he did. That's
Very
what he
mean.
does all the time. And
Very
I had
mean.
2 attempts to be civil with him in the past. It never worked because he's just a terrible person. So I thought, yeah, if that's what you want, I'll give you that. And it worked. Alhamdulillah.
He asked for it, and then he got it.
Yes. But yeah, my debate with IP was very, very bad. Worst debate ever. Alhamdulillah. That's why I love IP. Village people blame to Israel due to Sunni Shia conflicts. Yeah, it's always Israel's fault, man. Always. Suspiciously warm pager says, does the Quran sound better in Arabic? I've read more literally excellent material on Reddit. As in sound, do you mean it sounds better, or do you mean it actually is better in Arabic? It sounds better if you sing it.
Yeah.
It's not
It's like-
actually better in Arabic.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy pointed out that, like, you can say anything in French. He can say, "I have to go take a crap" in French, and it'll sound fancy to a person who doesn't. And even Steven said, he's like, poo poo. And it's like, oh, that sounds cool.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Lloyd 444. They're harsher to AP because Yahya told them to. Yeah. Yahya Sinwar really has a big problem with me, man. Apostate of Allah. What's up, apostate of Allah? Syria is a country with a rich Jewish and Christian history. Thinking Islamists are taking over makes my heart heavy. Well, it's all in the past, you know. Although they still have a significant Christian population. I think before the Civil War, Aleppo, I think, had a Christian population of like 15% or something like that. So, and they still had a somewhat thriving Jewish population, although very, very few. After
Guys, there are bad times ahead. There are bad times ahead right here.
Yeah,
for people in Syria.
We need Islam gone. That's it. David and AP, please request an interview with Candace Owens in Israel-Palestinian conflict.
Let's request an interview.
Never gonna happen.
Candace Owens, can you interview? Can we interview you? We want your expertise.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Veritas said thoughts on the Dahiyya doctrine, AP. Thanks, guys. It's a doctrine that
look, just because Muhammad liked getting boned by Dahiyya doesn't mean you should make a doctrine out of getting banged by the hottest dude around. It doesn't follow. So yeah, don't make a doctrine out of this, people.
So the Dahiyya doctrine is an Israeli doctrine that is occasionally applied, which is about harming infrastructure as much as possible to pressure the other side and other forces into giving up the war. It is basically a measure of they are fighting us, so we're going to pound the heck out of them to force them into
like Dahiyya.
Yeah, like Dahiyya.
Al-Kalbi.
Force them to make peace. It's a very harsh method, but hey, stop fighting Israel. Honestly. Lloyd 444, have you watched the Oxford Union Israel-Palestine debate? An Israeli Arab was debating in defense of Israel and did a good job. Yeah,
I just mentioned that to AP right before we got started.
Is that what you were talking about?
That's what I was telling you about.
I just retweeted it without even looking at what
Israeli Arab. Yeah, dude was totally based. You should watch it. It's only a couple of minutes long.
Oh, that was the Israeli Arab we're talking.
Play it. It's only a couple of minutes long, man. It's like 4 minutes or something. The dude was cooking everybody, cooking them.
I forgot his name.
Some base name.
I think
You got
about
4
2
minutes.
Mention him all the time. I forgot his name. Yusuf Haddad. Yeah, Yusuf Haddad.
That's Yusuf Haddad. Okay.
Yeah, this is Yusuf Haddad. The guy's based. Let me
He's
see.
very based.
Let
Very
me
strong.
see.
Very strong and based.
Now, just to make a one very obvious statement, everybody is saying the House should vote. I hope the House would vote, as if we already don't know what the House is going to vote tonight. But I'm here, one, just to show you that we are not afraid to confront all those anti-Israeli lawyers who twist the facts and lie time after time. And what's so crazy is that the majority of you have never been in the land of Israel, have never lived in the land of Israel. And then you have the audacity to come to speak to an Arab who was born in Haifa, the largest mixed city in Israel, raised in Nazareth, one of the largest Arab city in Israel. And then you get the audacity to tell me if I live under apartheid regime. Shame on you. You have no clue what you're talking about. You want to lie? Keep lying. But the simple fact is, when you arrive and speak about the apartheid myth, you need to understand that when you talk about apartheid, you either bring facts or you be quiet. Because according to Amnesty International, Israel is making an apartheid regime from the river to the sea, including the 2 million Arab Israelis, which is a blended lie from the river to the sea. Because here, this is me, winning actually an honorary doctorate from the University of Ariel when you talk about academics. This is Salim Zubran, an Arab judge who sent to prison a Jewish prime minister and a Jewish president for committing crimes. Both of them were Jews. An Arab judge sent to prison a Jewish prime minister and a Jewish president to jail. You see this?
Fact.
That's apartheid.
A fact that you can very, very easily look up. A fact that you can very, very easily look up and find. Very easily.
This MK is the most anti-Israeli member of Knesset in Israel. Yet this MK earns $10,000 from the taxpayer. Most of them comes from a Jew, and he has the right to talk about Israel as much as he wants. If he lived in apartheid, he would be in jail right now. And how about Samir Hashaya? You know what's so amazing? There's a stereotype. They say the Jews control the money. Jews control the money. Well, guess what? Samir Hashaya is an Arab Muslim from the city of Taibi. You know what's so amazing about Samir Hashaya? Should I say Dr. Samir Hashaya? He was the head of the largest bank in Israel. An Arab Muslim is the head of the largest bank in Israel in a stereotype where you see that the Jews control the money. And how about this guy? Look at this. This is Anan Khalaili. He's an Arab Muslim playing for the Israeli football team. What you're not going to hear from our nice gentlemen and opponents here, you will not hear them talking about this person. I'm not even sure that they know who is this person. Do you have any idea, Mr. President? Anybody? Anybody has idea?
Oh no, you're too stupid.
This is Islam Hajazi. She was killed with more than 90 bullets by Hamas because she wouldn't give them aid. She was responsible for giving aid. And when Hamas, the terrorists, came to take this aid and she refused, they shot her. You know what's so crazy? They did not deny it. Whoever calling me liar, Hamas did not deny it, you useful idiots. Well, but here's the story. You will never, never, ever talk about it. But here is my last point about the apartheid, about the relationship of the Arabs and the Jews. Does anybody of you even know who they are? Yusuf and Hamza? Yusuf and Hamza are Arab Muslim Israelis who were kidnapped by the terrorist organization Hamas on the 7th of October and still held hostages over 415 days. This is the reality. And if you think, look at this person here, booing the Arab Muslims. So you understand the reality, huh? There is a person here that booing Arab Muslims being held hostage by the terrorist organization Hamas. This is absolutely unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not, what is happening in Gaza today, what is happening in the war that you, it means Hamas and their supporters, started, and now they're crying, it's only because of the simple fact that you are losing. You're losing the Lebanese, you're losing the Arab world, you're losing every single thing. that you thought that you can win. And you know why you're losing? Because you thought you could destroy Israel, but Israel is here to stay.
Wow. Cooked them. And then they still voted that it's an apartheid state anyway, because as he said at the beginning, we all know what you're going to vote. Your minds are made up.
You know why they voted like that?
But the people are retarded.
That's why. Yusuf Haddad is
Pretty based.
He has the typical. It's gonna sound very stereotypical, but he has the very typical Arab passion, together with actually good things to say. So, man. But people don't want to see it. You know what's very disturbing to me? I still want to look through that. But when we landed in Israel, you and I, when we went to Israel, and when we landed there in Tel Aviv, remember the first thing when we landed there, we walked down this long passage, and there were all the posters of the hostages and victims and all that were on the sides, on the left and right.
Mhm.
Among those was a hijab wearing Muslim woman. The thing is, when I saw that day, I thought to myself, why am I only seeing this now? And to this day, I'm still wondering, why haven't I seen that anywhere else until now? Like, wouldn't that be something that Israel, if they were so prone to just use anything they can for propaganda, isn't that something that they should have been using? That they were, hijab-wearing victims of the October 7 Hamas terrorist attacks, that there were Muslim victims, Muslim hostages held by Hamas when the terrorists attacked, or videos of Hamas going around and beating up and torturing Arabs and Muslims inside Israel, even when they say, "I'm a Muslim, I'm an Arab," and the Hamas terrorists say, "No, you are traitors because you work for the Jews," and then torture them and so on. Like, aren't these things that Israel should use a little bit more to show people? I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me. Anyway, let's watch a little bit of this.
To avoid complacency, miss the same as Hama. From a military perspective, what comes after Hama will not be the same as what came before. However, I prefer not to be overly optimistic during the battle. I like to remain cautious and vigilant to avoid complacency and ensure we don't suffer losses while believing we are safe.
What comes after this? What's after Hama?
The course of the battle, as for the secrets of the battle, let's leave them to the unfolding events. You will witness them in reality, which is better than discussing them now.
In a matter of days, you have taken major cities. What's changed? How are you able to do this now?
OMG, such a great job. It makes me want to get on my knees. Right?
How are you so successful in taking over Syria?
Look at your big arms. Ooh.
How are you so based in all of this? How do you remain so strong and based?
How about you get us on your knees?
In recent years, there has been a unification of internal opinions and the establishment of institutional structures within the liberated areas of Syria. This institutionalization included the restructuring within military.
Well, it would be funny if he's like, well, the Assad regime may have seemed very strong, but his principal spokesperson on social media has been Syrian Girl for several years now. And she has single-handedly convinced the entire world that it's a lost cause and that only idiots would defend the Assad regime. And so this is why Syria lost all its support from outside influence and why they're begging for other countries to come to their aid, and no one wants to. So, Syrian Girl, thank you.
That's a very good one. That's a good point. Syrian Girl helped the cause of the Islamists a lot. I would
Hey,
say.
we should take a clip and do our own dub over that dude. Our own dub of what he's saying, and it's all about South Syrian girls. It's a stupid idiot.
Somebody was asking earlier, was it a super chat or was it something else? Somebody was asking earlier about the Bible that I have. Oh, here. Stefan the Pellet, can you show your Bible with Apocrypha and commentary? I would say lots of people would probably not prefer it. I took it because I am aware of the downsides of the particular translation of it, but it also has lots of sources. But here, so this is what I have. It has the New Revised Standard Version, which I think is not a very good version to read if you just want to read the Bible, because
I read that.
You did?
Not that Bible. I read the New Revised Standard Version. I used to switch up Bible translations every year. So the first one I read was,
what do you think of it?
Was King James all the way through. Then I read New King James, which is the New Testament, and then I doubled up and I read the NIV and the New Revised Standard Version simultaneously.
What do you think of it?
And all the way through. I was fine with it. I'd prefer ESV or NASB or NIV, depending on whether you want something that's smooth flowing or something literal, but easier to read than the King James. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. What I find good about it is I think it's a good translation to study the Bible. The thing about it is, the problem I have with it is that it does these things where it includes, for example, a line that is only found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and nowhere else is included there, with a note at the bottom usually that this is only found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is I think it's in Deuteronomy or somewhere else, where it talks about I don't want to misrepresent it, but certain parts that are considered problematic and only found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and nowhere else are like casually included in a translation. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting thing to do. It's a little bit more inclusive in adding anything than the Revised Standard Version. But this is I like this Bible because it has a lot of use, a lot of references, and so on.
Oh, there was I don't remember where it was. I remember when I read it. So this would have been like 1997 or something like that, in prison when I read that. I don't remember where it was, but I remember in there was some translation where 4 lines, I realized they rhymed, and it would be a cool little rap chorus. And then like years later, I'm like, where was that? I don't remember. Like the only way I would be able to find it is actually because I have no clue where it was in there. I just remember going, oh, that would be a cool rap chorus. Remember that for later. And then I don't remember where it was. Anyway, I'm going to have to actually read through that entire thing again and find it, just so I can have my dope chorus.
You should do that. Do that right now.
I will.
Okay.
Factions. They entered unified.
Look, I respect people who say that the KJV is the best version, but the thing is,
yeah, no, that's fine. You can. A lot of this is going to be subjective. What are you looking for? Because there are all sorts of different things you could like about a Bible version. If I'm quoting in public, I prefer NIV because it's written to flow smoothly and so on, so it's easy to communicate. Me personally, if I'm just reading on my own, I prefer something that's like literal, like kind of word for word type thing. So that's like your NASB or your ESV or something. But people can like the KJV and so on. So
but the thing is, some people go around and say, "Oh no, this is the best. You should only read that." And it's like, I tend to not want to read a text that reads like something that reads in a language that people spoke many centuries ago and nobody speaks like it. Like, why are we doing this? Yeah. Why can't I just read it in plain English?
No, it's weird because if you grow up hearing Bible like that, you just associate that with which is weird because the New Testament's written in Koine Greek. It was the language of the common people. It wasn't meant to sound fancy. It was meant to be understood. And so then you get to this, we need it to sound like thou shalt blah 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 blah. And it wasn't even written that way.
Yeah.
No, so I'm fine with people saying, hey, I like the King James version the best, or I think it's the best, or something like that. that you cross the line when you're like, this is the only Bible anyone. They're calling King James only. There are people who actually believe that God like re-inspired the translation. So there's the original scriptures were inspired, and then God actually inspired the only correct English translation. That's why everyone has to go to the King James. And it's like, okay, now you're sounding like a cult.
Alhamdulillah. Orthodox Study Bible. I'm pretty sure that's what my wife uses. If she's listening right now, she'll probably confirm that in a second. Pretty sure that's what she's reading.
It is defiantly worth.
It is based. Alhamdulillah.
Included the restructuring within military factions. They entered unified training camps and developed a sense of discipline. This discipline allowed them, with God's guidance, to engage in a battle in an organized manner. The progress and execution of plans have been swift, with clear communication and adherence to commands. They stop where they should stop and withdraw where they should withdraw. The revolution has transitioned from chaos and randomness to a state of order, both in civil and institutional matters and in military operations alike.
What he's saying here is would be good news for the rebels, but bad news for all those who are betting against them. Bad news for Assad, definitely. But it seems that they have adopted a more successful way of approaching the civil war and fighting toward or going toward a solution to the civil war. The thing is that once they succeed with it, this organized aspect of them will also be displayed in really bad ways against those who stood against them. And I hope that we don't see what we all expect to see, which is atrocities and Islamization.
I believe this is happening because the allies of the Assad regime, the Russians, Hezbollah, Iran, that they're weakened, they're preoccupied with other wars. And this is why we are seeing this happen right now. And the Syrian regime itself weakened. Is this what is happening right now? Is this why you chose to launch this offensive right now?
As you know, we are still in the midst of the battle, and discussing such details at this time is not wise.
But you faced more of a resistance in Hama than you did in Aleppo.
That basically means yes. So.
What do you think happened? Why did the regime withdraw like it did?
The seeds of the regime's defeat have always been within it. It has been effectively dead since that time. However, the Iranians attempted to revive the regime, buying it time, and later the Russians also tried to prop it up. But the truth remains, this regime is dead.
He is right on this, which is that had Assad not aligned himself with Putin against the West, and Putin had not concentrated so much of his forces toward defending Assad, the Syrian government would have been overthrown a long time ago. Had Assad not had the help of Hezbollah and Iran, they would have collapsed a long time ago. Hezbollah, the Islamic regime of Iran, and most importantly, Russia, basically kept them alive. Assad doesn't have much to give his own people. He doesn't have much to give his own soldiers. He doesn't have the morale or the motivation that he can give to his own soldiers, to his own people. They depended very much on the support of those outside. But right now, Israel came in and basically eradicated the entire Hezbollah leadership. Hezbollah has been rendered useless in outside of Lebanon. The Islamic regime of Iran, I hate to pull up my own tweet, but
oh yeah, I'm sure you really hate it.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. But it can basically be summarized in Iran being the most useless ally ever there is, because this is literally what the Islamic regime of Iran said. They did say we will protect Gaza, and they never did. They said we will defend Hezbollah. In fact, what they said was, if Israel attacks the leadership of Hezbollah directly, then we will enter the war. They said that. It never happened. because they can only bluff, and they are terrified of Israel. They said, we will teach Israel an unforgettable lesson. This is actually a direct quote.
No, I mean, to be fair, they did. They taught Israel a lesson about how weak Iran actually is and how no one should be scared of it anymore, which the terrorists in Syria got that message. Like, oh, wait a minute. Iran's weak? Hey, that's a very unforgettable lesson that they just taught Israel. Okay. Thank you.
So
Thank
that
you,
completely
teacher.
failed. He repeatedly said Israel is coming to an end. This is, of course, a typical Islamic regime of Iran narrative. They have been saying this since the 80s. Ahmadinejad 20 years ago also said, soon Israel is coming to an end. It's going to come very, very soon, much sooner than you might think. They're already crumbling, and they're not going to survive very long. Israel is thriving. And finally, he said, we will protect Syria, and they're nowhere to be seen.
Bang up job you're doing.
Nowhere to be seen. So Iran is not there to protect them. Hezbollah is no longer there. And Putin has too much on his own plate. He could never succeed with his goal of finishing the operation in Ukraine within 3 days. It's been slightly more than 3 days.
Dude, this is all really weird. I mean, this has been 2024 has been the worst year for Dawah and for Islam, just in terms of since apart from the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, losing their caliphate. I mean, how many losses can they possibly take? Look at this. I mean, this has been a really bad year. So, they've just been crushed by Israel, and they've resorted to nothing but whining around the world. And we'll whine and we'll complain and we'll scream and we'll boo and we'll blah, blah, blah. We'll block traffic. Okay, you guys are doing absolutely nothing except annoying people. And then what have they done Dawah-wise this year? They've gone into full retreat mode. You can't even get into a discussion with these guys. They run like cowards if you show up to Speaker's Corner. They lose, and they've lost every debate this year. They've done nothing. And then here at the end of the year, it's weird because it's kind of like, okay, well, the jihadis are winning in a sense, but how? By Iran and Hezbollah and the alliance with Russia and all this stuff breaking down. It's like, gosh, man, Islam is just imploding before our eyes.
Alhamdulillah.
Sad. What are we going to do? What are we going to do if Islam just crumbles, man? We'll have nothing to do.
No one knows what it's like to be a sad man.
To be the bad man in Syria.
Oh, man.
In the last year, it seemed like Bashar al-Assad survived the war. He was welcomed back into the Arab fold and on the world stage.
The Arab countries' evaluation of the situation was mistaken. Some Arab countries try to separate the regime from Iran's project. This is impossible. Even if the regime wanted this, it can't implement it. It's a subservient relationship. Iran can disengage from the regime, but the regime can't. To describe the regime as victorious is deeply unjust to the many children, people, women subjected to rape in prisons, displaced individuals scattered across the world. Those
children and women raped. I can't believe that, because if that were true, there would be tons of protests on college campuses around the world. So that's got to be a lie.
This is some big hypocrisy, though. So let's have this part again.
Just to the many. To describe the regime as victorious is deeply unjust to the many children, people, women subjected to rape in prisons, displaced individuals scattered across the world.
Did you say this guy was part of ISIS?
Living intense.
Yes.
Aren't they like the kings of all that stuff? Like the all-time kings of that stuff that he's complaining about?
Look, I have no doubt that the Assad regime has engaged in atrocities against civilians. I mean, we have seen it all. It's they did it right in front of our eyes, mass killings and gassings and things like that. And I know that some people, even those who are critical of the Axis and all that, will say, no, it's not true, it's propaganda. Sorry, it's true. It's been proven. He used chemicals against his own population, Assad. I'm pretty sure that the same regime also committed otherwise atrocities. This is just the way that dictators act. However, for an Islamist who was part of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, who didn't even distance himself from them on ideological or practical grounds, but rather on geopolitical grounds, for him to come here and say that that the Syrian regime is guilty of torture and rape of children and women and so on. Get out of here, man.
And let me guess, this super based CNN reporter is going to jump in instantly and say, wait a minute, you're talking about kids and raping women and so on. What's the track record with ISIS and their sex slaves and all the executions? What's up there? I'm sure she's going to jump in with that, right?
He was part of ISIS when ISIS really increased the genocide against the Yazidis. An actual genocide, a real genocide, not something that people change definitions over and then call genocide, like in Israel. A real genocide against Yazidis, where ISIS took them and started enslaving them and selling them as sex slaves, raping them, setting them on fire, burning them alive. He was part of ISIS at that time. Al-Qaeda was engaging in such practices, beheading and executing people in the streets. He was part of it. Now he is here talking about the Assad regime and their atrocities. And of course, the CNN puppet here will probably not fight back at all. Let's see.
It's on the borders of other countries. What kind of victory are we talking about?
In the past, you have talked about strict Islamic rule.
See? No pushback. No pushback. But at least she's bringing up strict Islamic rule. Let's see what happens.
Past, you have talked about strict Islamic rule. Is that still the plan?
People who fear Islamic governance either
I haven't heard the rest, but it's already clear. Yes. And you're getting it wrong because it's actually very, very good.
No, people who fear Islamic governance just haven't experienced it in all its rape-filled bloody glory.
After this, I want to go through a few of the things that unfold in an Islamic government, especially in a Salafi Islamic government, which he wants to advocate for. In fact, if he succeeds, and if he and his group actually implements the Salafi jihadist Islamic rule in Syria, this will be the first ever instance of a modern Salafi jihadist movement directly taking over and implementing and establishing a Salafi jihadist regime. As far as I am aware of, I'm trying to think of that right now. The only other example where a jihadist regime took over and established their own Islamist government was Afghanistan, but that's not Salafi. That's just regular Sunni. That's just regular Islam. It's not Salafi jihadist Islam. It's much worse. It's going to be worse than Afghanistan.
either have seen incorrect implementations of it or do not understand it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've seen incorrect implementations of it. Okay. Jihadi leader. Tell us where the Islam that we're supposed to look to as the authentic Islam is, so we can look at it and see if we really like it. Because everything you've been a part of, that's exactly what we mean when we say we don't like this. Everything I'm talking you specifically, person who's telling us we don't understand what it's really like. Everything you have been a part of is exactly what we don't like. Because it's exactly what we read out of your sources. You guys are the ones who actually implement what's in your sources. And people do not like that.
People don't like that. People don't like that at all. They don't like that at all. Now, here's the thing. They obviously made a deal with Turkey and others to achieve their goals. So they will have to make some compromises here and there. However, their ideology is Islamist, Salafi, Sunni ideology. Under their ideology, they will begin implementing Islamic Sharia law. I will let him speak and answer this question, then we'll have to go through what that means.
In the past, you have talked about strict Islamic rule. Is that still the plan?
People who fear Islamic governance either have seen incorrect implementations of it or do not understand it properly. We are talking about something that aligns with the traditions and nature of the region. The most important thing is to build institutions. We are not talking about rule by individuals or personal whims. It's about institutional governance. Syria deserves a governing system that is institutional, not one where a single ruler makes arbitrary decisions.
Many.
That was a bunch of pointless gibberish.
It was.
There was nothing of substance there.
But it was also a genius move. Because, in fact, let me see. This was a perfect way. They sound exactly like Hamas. They sound exactly the way Hamas sounded when Hamas took, before Hamas took power and before Hamas started carrying out their terrorist activities in the most brutal ways.
Yeah, but look what he just said. Hey, go ahead and ask me that question and I'll be him. You be the chick.
In the past, you said you will implement strict Islamic rules. Is that still true?
Listen, lady. Have you ever heard of institutions? Institutions is what our country needs. Syria needs, institutionally, mind you, institutions that will help institutions thrive in a nation of institutions. And once we have all these institutions will be institutionalized in this big country, which is going to be one big institution composed of smaller institutions. And it'll all be, you'll be looking around going, wow, so many great institutions here. Your mind will be blown by all the institutions. That's what we need. It's borderline like Kamala Harris, man, when she would just start repeating words over and over again and act like she said something of substance. That's what that dude sounded like to me.
Look, I say it's a genius move because he's doing the very same thing that Hamas did, where because Western people happen to be very stupid and obviously and in all honesty kind of retarded when it comes to dealing with things like Islamic society and Islamic ideology and their speeches and so on. Western people happen to be very naive and easily fall for things like these. The guy just sounded like, oh yeah, everything is totally cool, man. Institution and wonderful and working together and institution and people are like, oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, so it doesn't sound that bad.
And it ties in perfectly, as far as you saying that it's brilliant. It ties in perfectly with what politicians and the media have been telling people in the West for years, that, oh, you just don't understand it. You just don't understand Islam. And you've been given a false picture of it by the media. And if you knew what it actually was, you'd think it's great and wonderful.
Look at this. I didn't know about the comment section at all. I just decided to check here. He's right about the fact that those who kill the most innocent people also tend to label the most people as terrorists. Imagine a comment like this under an interview with Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. There is not much of a difference. As a Syrian refugee in Europe, I will definitely return to rebuild my country. Yes, please.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Piss off.
Good luck with that.
I would recommend all Syrian refugees in the West to go back there and to help rebuild.
Wait, even Syrian girl?
No. As much as I think that she's a horrible person, I would not like to see her to have news of her going there and getting, mistreated and raped and things like that. I just don't wish for that. So, Syrian girl, please don't go back there. Didn't expect the fall of Assad. ATS just showed us how a 3-day special operation looks like. I hope this beautiful country will be able to rebuild. Look at this. Poor Syrian people, so much warfare and strife. Hope peace can reign soon. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that, man. Good luck with that. If that guy sticks to his words, Syria might experience actual peace. Look at how...
Look, they fell for it instantly. To be fair, though, these are CNN viewers. And so
That's true.
They've been told by CNN for years that this is the case. Like, oh no, and Islam is really wonderful and just wants peace and harmony and democracy and
Hey,
everything.
look at this. A guy named Abu Walid said, "I used to think he was a terrorist, but after seeing this interview, I changed my mind.
This man has increased my iman.
So before this, I was the Pope, but now I am a Muslim, and Alhamdulillah, he makes sense."
Syrians.
decisions.
Many Syrians are happy and will be happy to see the end of the Assad regime, but they're also worried about what HTS rule would mean, including minorities.
No one has the right to erase another group. These sects have coexisted.
That's exactly what the Taliban said. The Taliban, just go back a few years when the Taliban retook Afghanistan. They gave these speeches where they were like, no, everyone is simply worried about these things that are not going to happen. And, people have painted a very wrong picture about us, and the whole, mistreating women and minorities and all of that. No, all of this is not based in reality, and it's all behind us and so on. What happened right now, women are less and less and less allowed to go to school. Women are now forced to stay at home. Increasing brutal rulings on women and Muslims themselves, non-Muslims, and their freedoms, and so on. They have cracked down and they have gone back on every single thing that they said they would do. They have readopted every single thing that they said they abandoned. You cannot trust Islamists. Just like this, when the Taliban spoke, the same people went to them years ago when the Taliban took over, and they said, oh, look, it looks like the Taliban changed. Maybe there is hope. No, you imbeciles. There is no hope. You absolute retards. There is no hope.
Wait, so there's hope?
Existed in this region for hundreds of years, and no one has the right to eliminate them. There must be a legal framework that protects and ensures the rights of all, not a system that serves
like our right to rape them all.
Is done.
Listening to you.
And wallahi, we will always preserve our right to oppress all the others who do not respect us and our ways.
But we grant them the right to keep their mouth shut when we rape them.
Yes, and everybody has the rights, even the Yazidis. We give them the right to be raped by us. Alhamdulillah.
Guys, let's make sure we keep this on record after the new regime does exactly what any non-idiot knows they're going to do. Let's make sure we revisit this after a while, as CNN helped feed the world a fat lie.
I will put this right here, right now. Clip this. If HTS takes over and becomes the party in charge of Syria, they will go back on everything they have said here and will indeed become an oppressive, typical Islamist regime. And suddenly we will all have completely forgotten about how they seem to be completely making sense, and they seem to be changed and all that. It seems to be all quite good, quite okay.
And all these idiots in the comments section going, oh, this guy's really based and awesome. They'll be on to some other lie that they're absorbing because they're stupid.
They can then say this was all actually this is all related to the perils of Zionism and of Israel and Israel's imbalance caused in the region that has led to these problems that have unfolded over time. We can blame somebody. Blame the Jews, blame the West. I don't know. Just don't blame the Muslims.
Speaking, you've gone through quite the transformation.
Shut the hell up. Oh my God.
Done.
Listening to you speaking, you've gone through quite the
What an imbecile. Listening to you speaking, you have gone through quite a
In other words, Yeah, and in other words, listening to what you're saying is so different from everything you've actually done in the past. It's like
OMG.
two different people. I look at your history of rape and torture and crushing and killing and slaughtering everything that got in your way, and now what you're telling me is it's going to be this land of candy-coated raindrops. You've gone through such a process to get here. How can we help you spread your message of love and peace? Freaking idiots, man.
Imbecile.
No, look, guys, the question this freaking clown emoji should be asking him is, what you're saying right now is completely at odds with everything we've seen from you and from any group you've been a part of for your entire existence. Are you telling the truth? Are you telling the truth right now? Or are you making this up? And if you are telling the truth and you've somehow completely changed your mind about all the stuff that you've done in the past, do you condemn and renounce all that? Do you condemn and renounce everything you've been a part of? And what is it that changed your mind about all of this? Please be clear.
You know what's very funny about all of this? We're not talking about some
you
random.
think this is funny. Lives are at stake here, and AP finds it funny. All right.
It's hilarious, but we're talking about a group that is not just some random group that is a political party. We're talking about a group that, even according to the most basically accessed place of information, is designated as a terrorist organization by the United States, Canada, Turkey, that actually is allied with them and helps them. They designated Tahrir al-Sham as terrorist group in 2018. Morocco, the UK, Russia, that's not a surprise, Argentina, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Japan, the United Nations, and the European Union. Designated as terrorist organization by all of these. But we're like, but we have CNN talking to them and giving them the opportunity to present themselves as these totally good guys. Totally good guys, man. Totally good guys. Alhamdulillah. Beautiful, powerful stuff. Whatever.
As Assad's regime has done.
You know, listening to you speaking, you've gone through quite the transformation.
Turkey, AP, Turkey is no, it's Turkey. It's Turkey. Not sure what you're talking. I don't know what you mean by Turkey. We're speaking English here.
As Assad's regime has done.
You know, listening to you speaking, you've gone through quite the transformation. Once an Al-Qaeda leader, your group has had affiliations with Al-Qaeda, with ISIS, and now you are projecting this image of a moderate leader and a moderate group. What is HTS right now?
Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is one of the factions in the region, just like all the others. Now we're talking about a larger project. We're talking about building Syria. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is merely one detail of this dialogue, and it may dissolve at any time. It's not an end in itself, but a means to perform a task confronting this regime. Once that task is complete, it will transition to a state of governance, institutions, and so on. I believe that everyone in life goes through phases and experiences, and these experiences naturally increase a person's awareness. A person in their 20s will have a different personality than someone in their 30s or 40s, and certainly someone in their 50s.
So are those days behind?
He did exactly what you just said. He did with the other question. And the CNN slave here is not even pointing it out. She just asked a question, and he didn't even answer the question. Everything he just said is a complete non-answer to the question.
It's like he must have hired some like 19-year-old college student from Columbia or something like that and said, give me a bunch of gibberish that will sound good to a bunch of idiots that you run with. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, just say this.
Oh, shoot.
What?
Al-Hadath sources, the Syrian army command informed its officers and soldiers of the fall of the regime. Shoosh. Oh, boy.
Whoa!
They took Damascus.
Whoa, look.
The red is now gone.
Wasn't that red when we started?
Yeah. It's gone.
I was kind of joking when I said, what if that all changes while we're live?
They took Damascus.
Gosh, man. In the middle of the night over there.
They took Damascus. They took Damascus.
Yeah, I saw a clip. I was looking at it while we were live of people trying to get on the last flight when they took the airport. Music is haram.
There are unconfirmed reports that Assad has left Damascus on a plane.
Of course he has.
And but there are also reports, apparently. Let me quickly see that. I don't want to say something that is completely false. Let's see. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has boarded a plane and left Damascus. I did just get messages saying something about the plane as well, but I don't know. They lost track of him or something. I don't know. Chaos at Damascus. People are fleeing. The rebels. Groups that stuck together with the Syrian government are fleeing. Others are celebrating, and so on. Man, this is happening right now. As we are streaming, actually, the Syrian regime, Bashar al-Assad, has fallen, it seems.
You should change the title of your live stream to the Assad regime collapses live.
We captured it live, only here. Strongest rebel, fearful will impose draconian Islamist rule. The proof of the pudding is the eating. I don't care about pudding right now. Alhamdulillah. Anyway, I'll turn on my notifications here on my phone to see to get immediate responses. But look at this. It's gone. It's gone. The only place that left here where there is currently no dispute, as it seems, or at least no clear update, is the small coastal part that is usually not under Sunni population control. That's it. The rest is all gone. They took Damascus. They took Damascus. They took Damascus. A Syrian plane from Damascus descended near the Lebanese border. Anyway, let's get back and we'll see when there are more.
Behind you?
Sometimes it's essential to adjust to reality, and because someone who rigidly clings to
This guy is just waffling so
Hayat Tahrir al-Sham is one of the factions in the region, just like all the others. Now we're talking about a larger
Just like all the others. There's a faction here, a faction there. What we need to focus on is institutions. Institutions. Factions come and go. Institutions remain. So, institutions. If you take nothing else away from this interview, which you won't, institutions, lady. It's all about institutions.
It's all about the institutions. Institution. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Hey, you have questions about the Syrian Civil War? Well, institutions. What about
which part of institutions wasn't clear?
Institutions. Institutions. This is the funny thing here. Well, it's kind of understandable that he's talking about institutions and institutions, because look at the list of belligerents in the Civil War. The Syrian Arab Republic, with all its different branches of the military and its allies, police forces, armed groups supporting the Syrian army, different Arab nationalist guard groups, Arab socialist movement, Palestinian militia. Hezbollah, Nazi volunteers, Russians, Lebanese organizations, Iranians, and so on. Then you have on the other hand, Syrian opposition. You have the Salafi jihadists on the other side. You have the Kurdish groups and their allies on the one side. You have the Free Syrian Army here with other factions working together. This doesn't even capture the whole thing. Like what you see here as just 4 lines would actually be separate, because pretty sure that this list here of Salafi jihadists puts Al-Qaeda and ISIS into the same camp. Let me see. Where's ISIS? Did I miss it? ISIS, where's ISIS? Oh, yeah, they separated it here. But ISIS is actually against everyone, which is very funny. They're like, we don't work with other jihadists. We are against everybody. We will kill you if you don't follow us. That's what ISIS does. They're against everyone. And then you have all these different jihadist groups here. There are just numerous different sick factions and so on. It's really, really messed up. It's a giant mess, giant soup.
Detail of this dialogue, and it may dissolve at any time. It's not an end in itself, but a means to perform a task confronting this regime. Once that task is complete, it will transition to a state of governance, institutions, and so on. I believe that everyone in life goes through phases and experiences, and these experiences naturally increase a person's awareness. A person in their 20s will have a different personality than someone in their 30s or 40s, and certainly someone in their 50s.
So are those days behind you?
Sometimes it's essential to adjust to reality, and because someone who rigidly clings to certain ideas and principles without flexibility cannot effectively lead societies or navigate complex conflicts like the one happening in Syria.
People listen.
AP, you might want to check Syrian girl's pinned tweet now.
Really? Wait. By the way, if you didn't pay attention, David, he just said another bunch of nothing.
Oh, he did? I missed it. I was reading Syrian girl's tweet.
Oh boy, wait a minute. The resistance was betrayed from Gaza to Lebanon to Syria. The axis may be over, but the resistance will remain. The genocidal terrorist state of Israel is Syria's eternal enemy.
You got to read it like her. The genocidal terrorist state of Israel is Syria's eternal enemy.
The fight for Syria's soul is not over, nor is the fight against the greatest Zionist scourge worldwide.
Did they just nuke Syria?
Thank you for those who stood with us. We will never forget your sacrifice. I hope you won't forget about us as the struggle goes into its next phase. Tahiyya Syria.
What's the next phase?
Syria.
What's wrong with you? I didn't tell you to look at the comments. I just said look at your tweet. It's very encouraging.
I'm pretty sure that Drew deactivated his account yesterday, but I bet he just came back because the Syrian government fell and he wanted to take a piss out of.
Oh yeah, so who's on Syrian? Who's basically in the same mindset as Syria? Is like Jackson Hinkle's like on the same page, right? Like when it's all about Syria and Iran and Russia, and that's the alliance that they're loyal to, and so they flip out if it's someone else taking over.
That's what they do. Yeah. Jackson Hinkle is very much her closest ally in terms of ideological alliances and allegiances.
He must be crapping his pants right now. We already saw him freak out on Mohammed Hijab.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But that's what they flipped out over, right? It's like,
yeah. Israel shot a Palestinian girl. Yeah, right. That's definitely what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I trust you, Syrian girl.
Yeah.
I always trust you, Syrian.
And I also trust Syrian girl when she said repeatedly that Israel has nuked their enemies.
She also said that Israel is going to be gone by the end of 2024. To be fair, there are still a few weeks left.
Yeah, you got a few weeks.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's going to happen within 3 weeks. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We do not know. We just don't. We can't. We just can't know. It's not possible to know at this point. Syrian revolution wiping their feet with the Palestinian flag. This isn't the flag of Palestine in the video. He says this is a Ba'ath army flag. Are you freaking kidding me? Does she not know this? This is not the. Look at this. So here's Syrian girl saying Syrian revolution, wiping their feet with the Palestinian flag. Now, here is the thing. The Ba'ath party has this flag. And the Ba'ath party, which is also what
That's what your boy was.
Bashar al-Assad and the others are part of. It's their flag. It's her hero's flag. And she doesn't know it and says they're stepping on their Palestine flag. She's either stupid and doesn't know her own things. I don't know what else. I don't think there's any other option, honestly. I think that, look, I know that sometimes she says things that seem like obvious lies, but I don't think that she's smart enough to lie, actually. So there's that. There's that aspect.
It is funny that every time there's a big explosion, she thinks that someone has nuked someone else.
Anyway, I don't feel sorry for her at all. I think she's the worst here.
It's legitimate. It's a legitimate concern. What is she going to do now?
She was hoping
everything was about Syria, and now there is no Syria. It reminds me of General Zod from Man of Steel. He said, I've been genetically engineered to protect my people, and now I have no people. Like, what do I do? Like, I had one purpose. I had one purpose, and now it's gone. Now I have no purpose anymore. Syrian girl had one purpose, and now that purpose does not exist anymore.
You know what's the moment where I lost all tolerance and respect for Syrian girl?
I never had any, so.
That was, I'm wondering if I look for it, that I can find it here. But that was a moment where she referred to the Israeli hostages and Israeli rape victims as disease-infested hags. Yes.
It would have gone better for her if no one had ever heard her speak. Right? Her posting video clips, that's the game changer there. Because people look at her pictures like, oh, she's kind of pretty, and then they hear her speak, and it's like, oh, she sounds like the biggest idiot in the history of humanity.
Yeah, I can't find it right now, but she did refer to the Israeli women as disease-infested hags.
She's like, okay, everyone. So here I am in Moscow after this terrorist attack, because I'm going to be on the ground doing an investigation. Like, you sound like a dope.
Oh, here, wait a minute. This was about Israel is bombing Gaza today because Jews are inherently genocidal. Hamas slaughtered and raped 1,100 Israelis on October. She says the fact that they want us to believe that anyone would have the desire to rape those disease-infected hags is what irks me the most.
They weren't doing that. Definitely, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Yeah, they didn't want to do that.
This is what. This is how she talks about women,
rape victims.
So I don't know what to say. Syrian girl.
Been a good run, Syrian girl. I mean, you gave hope to lots of idiots around the world who thought, wow, she can do it. If she can be a complete idiot and actually get a following, then maybe I can too. And then your little run on X, much like the Assad regime, has come to an end.
Bashar al-Assad, I miss you.
Listening to this are going to wonder why they should believe you. You are still a
terrorist,
specially designated global terrorist by the United States.
Ah, she said it.
$1 bounty on your head. Your group is a
respect. She said it.
Hey, look at
she
this.
Said it. I was saying, say terrorist, and she said it.
Look at this. They even zoomed in on him because he got slightly uncomfortable. Look at this.
It's with a $10 million bounty on your head. Your group is
Look at that. Yeah, you got uncomfortable there. That little shift. That little
He got
shift. Body
slightly
language.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, he almost detonated. You want to see terrorists? I show you.
Still a specially designated global terrorist by the United States with a $10 million bounty on your head. Your group is a terrorist organization by the United States,
Body language.
by the UN, by the EU, and others.
I say to people, don't judge by words, but by
AP.
actions.
Okay, we'll judge by actions.
AP, you be her and ask me that question.
Why should people trust you, considering that you're still designated terrorist?
Is it getting hot in here? What is the temperature in here? Okay, let's get a question again. That's what he looked like.
It's kind of weird.
It's getting hot in here.
So take off all your clothes.
No, don't do it. No, dude, you would do. We know you would do it because you're CNN.
Do you want me to do it right now? I will do it. Yes,
I'll do it just to show you how much I respect you, big strong terrorist.
The fact that you took over the entirety of Syria in just 10 days, it makes me want to take off my clothes right here, right now.
Believe the reality speaks for itself. These classifications are primarily political and at the same time wrong. I define a terrorist as someone who intentionally kills civilians, harms innocents, or displaces people. If we're being
But we
honest,
do not kill the innocents. We kill the stupid kuffar and the hypocrites.
Yeah, he never did
They are
something.
not the innocents.
His groups, they never did something. They never killed innocent civilians. They never did anything like that. Al Qaeda and ISIS never did such things, for example. Yeah. Isn't this a good opportunity for her, if she was a little bit of intelligence? Maybe she will. To ask him whether she approves of Al Qaeda and ISIS and their methods and things that they have done, aside from the political or geopolitical disagreements.
This is where, hate to say it, this is where you need Piers Morgan to ask the one question he always asks: do you condemn? And go on a list of things that you're asking.
Okay, but hold on. I just want to ask you: do you condemn?
What ISIS did?
What ISIS did? What ISIS did to the Yazidis? Do you condemn it? Because I have a moral quandary about that, and I.
You know, I really hate to say it, but I would seriously like to see a Syrian girl doing this interview with him. That would be hilarious.
many of the wars waged by major powers in Arab, Muslim, and even non-Muslim countries have involved the deliberate killing of thousands, the destruction of homes, and the displacement of millions. Even the regime itself is guilty of such actions.
But the US and other...
What in the world? Okay, this is a very, very typical way to respond to this the question of terrorism. He basically just said, upon being asked about what about your designation as a terrorist organization and how can people trust you while that is still the case, he said, well, terrorism is just a political designation, and you know, other people, they kill lots of people too. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. What a brilliant response. Thanks.
Muslim countries have involved the deliberate killing of thousands, the destruction of homes, and the displacement of millions. Even the regime itself is guilty of such actions.
But the US and others would say is that you were parts of groups that did exactly that.
Personally, I have not done these things. The situation must be...
That's not the question. You were just... what she just pointed out is that you were part of groups that have done such things.
Understood in its historical context. There was a massive war in Iraq that deeply stirred people's emotions, prompting many to go there. The circumstances of that war led people to various places, and my path led me to one of those locations. Given my level of awareness and my young age at the time, my actions evolved to where I am today. I didn't go to Iraq with those intentions. I went to defend the Iraqi people. When I returned...
What a stupid response. What a dumb thing to say. Anybody who joined ISIS and who engaged in enslaving people could also come here and say, well, you know, I didn't join ISIS because I wanted to do those things. I went there because I had a mission and you know, a justified fight and all that. That's why I went there, of course. Okay, that doesn't answer the question at all. You were part of organizations that carried out brutal terrorist attacks, that massacred their own civilian populations who refused to collaborate with them, that enslaved and burned alive people, that mass raped people, that sold women as sex slaves, and so on. He himself was part of those organizations. And people seriously have CNN. CNN is a news channel, a news organization that will literally that will condemn somebody forever for saying something offensive, but they will sit down
with terrorists
and with actual terrorists and sex slavers and give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, "Oh, you seem to have changed a lot."
Yeah, if Donald Trump were to use the wrong pronoun with a trans person right now, it would be international CNN news for the next 18 months. And yet they will sit down with actual terrorists taking over a country to install a terrorist regime in that country and play patty cake with him.
The funny thing is he's talking about his young age. I was just wondering. I thought, wait a minute, young age? Is he like in his 20s or something? He was born in 1982. He is 42 years old right now. That's what he means by young age. So I could technically just right now, considering that I'm younger than him, I could just right now go out and massacre and rape a bunch of people, cut them up, put them in my freezer, and so on, like Jeffrey Dahmer and Nick Fuentes,
yeah.
and then do all kinds of torture, all kinds of messed up things, burn people alive, buy and sell sex slaves, and be part of organizations that do such things. However, in 5 years, I can change. In 5 years, I can change, and I can then say, well. Personally, I don't think that we should talk about those things because I was young and I am still young. And I am at a stage in life where I have gone through different phases. And
back then I had no institutions, whereas now I have many institutions.
And I always think about the institutions. And what I want to emphasize here is that we have to consider the institutions at work and at play in this scenario. And considering that, looking at the past, there is always a context to everything that we approach in life. And considering that I was also at that point when I totally did not do such things, young, and depending on the context and had no intentions and never went into it with the intentions of doing such things, we should just look at the actions and the future.
Well, I'm convinced.
You're convinced? Thank you.
I went to defend the Iraqi people. When I returned to Syria, I didn't want to bring what happened in Iraq into Syria. That's why there were disagreements between us and ISIS.
People would be wondering why you've agreed to speak with it.
That's why when I returned to Syria, I didn't want to bring...
People are wondering why he would agree to speak with CNN? In case you're confused by this, CNN or anyone else, if I were a terrorist and I wanted to do an interview to allow someone to get someone to amplify my propaganda while I focus on building my terror regime, I would 100% of the time go to you, CNN.
Alhamdulillah.
And you're exactly where I would go.
But wait, David, wait. He has disagreements with ISIS. Look.
Key people. When I returned to Syria, I didn't want to bring what happened in Iraq into Syria. That's why there were disagreements between us and ISIS.
People would be wondering.
Yes, we have to keep the jihad separate. They want to bring in the same thing. We want a different jihad. That is my only objection. Now, all the rape and torture, yes, we keep that, but
this is how disgusting CNN. I really. Oh, she doesn't even follow up on this. She doesn't even push back on this. The only place where she actually brings up his involvement in Al Qaeda and ISIS in the past, who have, as she said, committed brutal atrocities, he simply says that he went a different path after joining them and coming to Syria, a different way of fighting. That's it. And she just lets him get away with it. This is CNN. She doesn't push back and doesn't ask a clarifying question about the fact that ISIS and Al Qaeda have committed mass atrocities. So, do you condemn those things or do you agree with them? She should be doing this, but no, she doesn't care because it's CNN. They would care about pronouns, not about terrorism or actual rape,
Wondering why you've agreed to speak with us.
What is happening in Syria is significant for the entire world. This event has positive repercussions globally because under the regime's rule, Syria became a source of concern and trouble for everyone. Stabilizing Syria will bring many people back. Today, in the liberated areas, about 1/3 of the population lives in camps, approximately 1.5 million people. I believe we can soon reach a point where there are no camps. With the rehabilitation of the liberated areas, people will return to their homes. Many refugees in Turkey will likely return, as will a significant number of refugees in Lebanon and Jordan.
All about
Even
the
refugees in Europe may return to rebuild their country.
Even refugees like Syrian girl in Australia can now return safely to Syria.
Yeah, and all those who went to Europe. I mean, to be honest, if this will end with all the Syrians who were totally told to, the European leaders promised to people that they're taking these Syrian refugees because there is just no other way right now, and surely when things calm down and when everything gets better, they will go back and all that. I'm pretty sure that those refugees will actually go back now once things calm down over there, right? I can tell you one thing: it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Probably going to get worse.
Most of the refugees who went to the West, they're not going to go back. They're not going back.
No, you're going to get more. You're going to get basically every non-Salafi right now is going to be scrambling to get out of there and applying for refugee status.
And this is why we tell European people that you can't approach these things so naively.
But the people are retarded.
Country.
A fascinating interview there. I want to thank.
Yeah, fascinating interview. We can't show what happened after this conversation was done. She was too fascinated, and then she did some more favors. We cannot put this on the screen, but otherwise it was a fascinating interview. And what happened afterwards, we have that available only for ourselves. Unfortunately, we cannot show it to the public. It got a little bit out of hand, but obviously our reporter was very, very fascinated with this wonderful leader of the terrorist. The rebel organization of HTS. And yes, hope you enjoyed this all, not as much as she enjoyed it, or he enjoyed it later on. Pretty sure that this is not correct, that this is not updating properly.
Hey, have you seen the updates on that plane issue?
They're saying that there are claims that the plane of Bashar al-Assad was shot down. But
people don't know right now. But yeah, that's an IL-76 aircraft which reportedly took off from Damascus International Airport, disappeared from radar after losing altitude. There are unverified reports suggesting that Syrian President Assad might have been on board. Speculation includes possibilities of a crash or an emergency landing, though the exact circumstances and the presence of Assad remain unconfirmed.
That's funny.
Oh, I'm glad you find that funny.
That's hilarious.
Everything involving death is
the latest from Syrian army officials was they confirmed that Bashar al-Assad indeed left, but they said that his destination is unknown.
Destination unknown.
They what probably happened is that he only a very few people were informed about where he's headed, and then he fled the country. But with the way things went, I wouldn't be surprised if he was betrayed on that final path as well. I don't know. At this point, we don't know if he's alive, if he made it, or if he has been if he has been killed while fleeing. We have no further confirmations, but while they were saying just earlier today, you know what's funny? Earlier today, the Syrian government announced that everything is okay. Earlier today, they said everything is all right.
All is well. All is well.
Don't worry. Be
Be
happy.
happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Don't worry, be happy.
Assad's general staff issues the statement that things are going well for us. That was earlier today.
Yeah,
That was
going really well.
So earlier, this is footage from earlier today from the Syrian government. This was the Syrian government earlier today. Doesn't look quite fine right now. Doesn't look quite fine right now. I'm just getting multiple unconfirmed reports left and right. Nobody knows what's going on, apparently, with Assad. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody knows where he was headed. Maybe he is by now somewhere above the ocean on his way toward an island in the Pacific where he will enjoy the rest of his life.
You think I figured he'd be going to Russia. That's where I'd go if I were him.
It's too cold, man. It's too cold in Russia. You can't go and live in Russia after living in Syria.
He can pay his heating bill. He can afford it.
One of my recently favorite people, Kat Shoshana, just tweeted this too soon. These are the images that Hezbollah tweets when one of their soldiers dies. That's messed up.
I think I'm going to make that. I think I'm going to include Jackson Hinkle. I think I'm going to make that edited CNN clip afterwards, where she asks a question, and then in the overdubbing, thanks Syrian Girl and Jackson Hinkle for turning the tide.
Yeah. The thing is, I feel glad that Assad is down and fallen. I'm happy to see that the so-called axis of resistance is defeated, but I am not happy at all that the Islamists are the ones who are taking their place, because
yeah, it's bad. I mean, just imagine how screwed up you are that you can look at an alliance of Iran and Russia and Hezbollah and look at that and go, oh crap, they're falling, and they deserve it because they're evil scumbags, but oh my goodness.
I mean, I want to
look at what's about to replace it.
I want to mock them right now, but the thing is, I also don't feel quite as happy about it. So that's the thing, you know. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, if there were anything positive, that was going to replace it, that would be one thing.
Look at this.
You have an awful, evil alliance, and it's going to be replaced by an even more evil.
8 hours ago, Israeli security sources reported their intelligence suggests Assad remains in Damascus. Look, you can always trust Israeli intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
They know what's up. He was there until...
You better have a really good hiding spot, better than Saddam's.
Until the last hour. Had he stayed there, it would be they would have either publicly executed him, or they would have put him in front of a trial followed by a brutal execution.
And you know how they roll when they capture someone. You saw what they did to Gaddafi. They just started shoving stuff up his butt.
Yeah.
It's like their go-to move. Hey, we got this guy. Okay, let's shove a bunch of stuff up his butt. That's what they did. That's what they did.
Get everything you can. Get everything you can. Let's put it all up his butt.
And then we got something we can shove up his butt. Oh, look, I got a pen. Let's stick this up there. Oh, look at this. Hey, look at this. I got a little Care Bear. Can we fit this up there? Let's stick this up there.
What's wrong with you?
This is what they did. They literally did that. They got him, and the first thing they do is they start shoving stuff up his butt. Like these are the guys you were rooting for, Westerners. The ones you were rooting for to take down Gaddafi, the people you wanted to win and take him down, are the guys whose first inclination is to start shoving things up his butthole.
It's not funny. It's very, very bad. It's not funny. It's not funny. Especially if you are Islamic, the only thing you should have inside you is this, not anything else. The 99 names of Allah. That's what you should have.
Don't give those terrorists an idea that, like, yes, we will show these hypocrites to respect Allah by shoving his 99 names up their buttholes.
All right. Grauenritter says, speaking of Fuentes, Holocaust denial is a weird thing. Deniers are more motivated to try and make their history more tragic, actually a form of envy. Yeah, there is nobody alive who actually denies the Holocaust because they think, no, it totally didn't happen. It's quite, there is a quite easy pattern. Holocaust deniers only do that as part of their propaganda, because they want to take away the justifications that the other side that was actually victimized presents for all the worries that they have. They don't actually deny the Holocaust. They don't actually reject such a thing. Most of these Holocaust deniers would have no problem with eradicating the Jews. They just don't want to give them that. It's not based on, nobody actually bases their Holocaust denial on facts and actually argues it thoroughly and proves it. There is not a single person on this planet who can go before a proper audience of scholars and make their case that the Holocaust didn't happen. All they are doing this for is that they hate the Jews and they want to get rid of them. And they don't think that this failure of getting rid of them, as bad as it was, can be granted.
Yeah, it's another situation where the claim only works in an atmosphere of ignorance. You have to be talking to a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about, because if you were talking to people who actually know what they're talking about, Germans kept pretty darn good records. There were the trials. People went to trials. There were cases brought. There were prosecutions. There was evidence presented. Volumes and volumes and volumes. We know what happened. It's not a great mystery. But if you have a bunch of people online who have no idea about any of this, and you say, "Oh, it's just the Jews lying," oh, okay,
yeah,
then I'll side with that to show my solidarity with the people of Gaza.
I'm not sure what people are talking about. This is a home decor with Allah's 99 names on it. I'm not sure why some people are saying other things about this, but this is obviously nothing like that. This is a home decor that you put somewhere to look at to remember the 99 names of Allah. It has all the 99 names of Allah on it.
Yeah.
Don't be sick.
And do not, under any circumstances, send that to Nick Fuentes, because it may not be used with its appropriate.
Not sure why people look at this and get like bad ideas about this thing. What's wrong with you? Prono at 22 gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much for helping and imprisoning 10 more people in our cult. Thank you so much, man. Lord Habitaxo of Predonia says, how come Apostolics, Roman C, Eastern O, Oriental O, act condescending towards apostates? Is Apostolics a way to group those people? Is that a thing? Asking on behalf of my cousins who became born-again Christians. David, as an expert on Christianity and ecumenism,
why don't you ask your wife, who's Orthodox and is persecuting and acting condescending towards apostates?
No, you're the expert here on ecumenism, so what do you think?
I'd have to say that's fairly common for someone who leaves a group.
That's pretty.
It's just pretty common for someone. If you leave a group, in other words, if you were, and you wouldn't just have to say that about Orthodox or Catholics or anything else. I mean, if you were a Southern Baptist and you decided you're no longer a Southern Baptist and you go become something, people are going to have a problem with it.
Alhamdulillah.
Your former Southern Baptist church will have probably a problem with it and think that you've taken a wrong turn.
That is based. What does Shay Hagadol mean? What is this username? Is that a name? Is that a name?
Why are you asking
Something
me?
the Great. Is that what it means? Jeremy Mott, no wonder Assad has asked Israel for help. Also interesting that the Israeli government might be considering helping him.
Little late, Jeremy. I think you must have written that at the beginning of this stream before the Assad regime collapsed.
This super chat was 2 hours ago. It's a bit too late for that.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Peace be upon me. CNN interviewed a terrorist. Osama was our boy. Obama created ISIS. We don't support terrorists. His story repeats itself when Byzantine supports Arabs. That's all cool, but Obama didn't create ISIS. Hope you are aware of that. I hope this was just a joke, because such a suggestion is based on...
You said it's based.
Nonsense. It is not based. It is
totally
not based. Yeah. Stefan de Peltet. Oh yeah, thank you. I already addressed this. Skyscraper philosopher rumors that HTS has decided to appoint a local Christian bishop, Hannah Jalouf, in Aleppo as mayor to reassure the city's religious and ethnic minorities of their safety and inclusivity. I saw that as well. I don't trust anything that they do at this point. I want to see actions.
I would trust nothing this regime did. In other words, I wouldn't even trust the news coming out. If they did, it's a temporary fix while they focus on other things, because there's no scenario where they're going to want Christians ruling.
Bashar al-Assad. I know in the chat some people are saying Assad's plane crashed, and I saw lots of rumors about that, but I don't see any official report.
Got to wait for confirmation. Maybe the case. Got to wait for confirmation. The stories always change as new information comes in.
Yes, that could also be a clever way by Assad himself and his forces to muddy the flow of information and safely bring him to his destination. So don't trust everything you hear. Oh, is this? Oh shoot!
What?
I don't know. The people editing Wikipedia are always very funny, but look at this. Bashar al-Assad's Wikipedia page right now. 19th president of Syria, in office July 2000 till 8th of December 2024.
Had a good run. Good run.
People who edit Wikipedia pages must be very happy about such updates. Syrian Prime Minister Mohammed Ghazi al-Jalali says he does not plan on leaving his home as he aims to ensure that public institutions continue to function. I urge all to think rationally and to think about their country, al-Jalali said. We extend our hand to the opposition who have extended their hand and asserted they will not harm anyone who belongs to this country. He also called on citizens to protect public property. Okay, if you can do that, I'm happy for you guys. People are already blaming Israel for destabilizing the Middle East. People blame Israel for the weather. Sankey, who will support AP supporting the inevitable post-Civil War, rebel Civil War, HTS, CSNA, the Revolutionary Commandos of the Southern Operations Group. The only people I support in Syria are the Kurds. I don't care.
Oh, not even the Christians. You heard that?
Well,
everyone just heard that.
The Christians don't really have a unified thing.
You said the only people you would support are Kurds, and you said, don't care about Christians, hope they all get subjugated.
That's exactly what I said. However, I just changed my mind, and I also care about the other minorities.
Okay.
A little bit to Druze, a little bit to Christians, a little bit to Jews, although they are pretty much non-left, but mostly the Kurds, if we are talking about the main factions here. Vic Kumar, this is a resurgence of an Ottoman Empire wet dream for Erdogan, and at the same time taking care of the Kurd issue. That is true. There is more to this, which people in the English-speaking world don't really hear much. People are joking about Assad saying, "Wait for the mail-in ballots. This is not over." In Turkey, things are kind of messed up. In Turkey, people have different ambitions about Syria. For example, the leader of the Turkish Nationalist Party said in a statement, oh yeah, right here. Let me pull this up. This is how Turks are. This is how Turks are. Look.
Deyince yüreği titremeyen bir vatan evladına rastlayamazsınız. Çünkü Halep iliklerine kadar Türk ve Müslümandır. Bunu sadece biz söylemiyoruz. Tarih söylüyor, coğrafya söylüyor, hakikat söylüyor, ecdat söylüyor, Halep kalesine çekilen Türk bayrağı söylüyor.
This goblin here is the leader of the Turkish nationalist movement, which is the main right-wing nationalist party in Turkey. And nationalism in Turkey doesn't mean nationalism in the European sense. Nationalism in Turkey means some really, really brutal, racist movement, but they are part of the government. And this guy is basically saying that Aleppo is a Turkish place and ultimately belongs to Turkey and Turks. And he is working together with Erdogan to support the terrorist organizations and rebels in Syria. Turkey has different ambitions, and they did work together with HTS and the other rebels. So this goblin is not just waffling. The goblin has a say in things that are happening in the region. Turks are crazy. Luke Slivkov, if a government falls in the Middle East, did anything really happen? No. No.
If a government falls in the Middle East and CNN is kissing the behinds of the terrorists who did it, did anything really happen?
Alhamdulillah.
Hey, speaking of stupid and insane, check out the tweet I just sent you.
Why are you sending me that on my messages instead of sending it to me on Twitter, where I can easily access it right here?
Oh, you want it on Twitter?
Yes.
Fine. Whatever you say, AP. Whatever you say.
What are you talking about? What is going on? What is going on?
It's the Pope.
What is with this? What do you want to look at?
The Pope. That's a new display. It's got baby Jesus on a Palestinian keffiyeh. To emphasize that Jesus is Palestinian.
What in hell?
It's the Pope. The Pope showing his respect to the Palestinian baby Jesus.
Is this a real photo? This looks so real.
It's real. It's all over the place right now.
Wait, whose idea was this?
Some super smart people's.
I had to look it up because I thought this must be fake, but it's totally real.
Mm-hmm.
What in? Visegrad 24 said Pope Francis inaugurates the new nativity scene called Bethlehem 2024 in the Vatican. Looks like the Pope has also fallen for the absurd claim that Jesus was a Palestinian.
In the Vatican.
I want to know more about what happened here. Who put the keffiyeh there? Did he say anything about this? Did he have any involvement in this? Who was in charge of this stupid thing here? Seriously, what? I honestly thought this is fake and had to look it up. What is this, man? Are you freaking kidding me? Well, here's the thing. I don't know what the Pope's role in all of this is, and in all honesty, The Pope is not somebody that I want to personally disrespect. But what the hell?
Because he would have Mossad assassinate you.
Somebody explain, as Suleiman Ahmed says, somebody explain, somebody explain, somebody explain. The Pope has unveiled this year's Christmas nativity scene featuring baby Jesus wrapped in a keffiyeh, a powerful nod to a symbol deeply rooted in the region's history and culture. Unless you want to say that this is a Jewish thing and the Arabs appropriated it, not sure how. The keffiyeh's distinctive pattern dates back thousands of years. Has nothing to do with the Palestinians, by the way. With origins tied to the ancient peoples of the Middle East, right, including during the time of Jesus, right. Totally. It has since become a global symbol of identity. No, it hasn't. It has become a symbol of terrorism. Jesus was a Jewish man. Jesus was a Judean man, who, by the way, also referred to the place that he lived as Israel, by the way. According to the only reliable records that we have of things that Jesus said, he referred to the place that he lived as Israel. He referred to the entirety of the communities of the Judeans, of his people, as Israel.
No, that's just in your corrupt Bible. In the uncorrupt Injil, he said, this is the land of Palestine and shall always belong to the Palestinians.
This is only in the corrupt Injil, and the real Injil.
And I am one of them. I am one of them. Ya Allahu Akbar.
And then he blew himself up. That's what happens in the real gospel, which is uncorrupted. But you have the fake gospels. Okay, I want to know more about how exactly this unfolded. But seriously, what is wrong with you people? Absolute stupidity, man. Absolute stupidity. Whoever is involved in this. This is the thing. I wanted to have a live stream early this week where I wanted to talk about how even many Christians even happen to fall for Islamist propaganda when it comes to the Middle East and Israel. But then I felt I had a headache, and I also felt a little bit too angry and negative to be talking about it. So I decided to just not do it. But I still want to get back to it. For example, I don't know if you've seen it, David, but there was this claim that was going around that day that apparently Israel bombed the mausoleum in Lebanon belonging to Saint Peter the Apostle. And the thing is, I looked at it at first and I thought, yeah, and then I thought immediately, within seconds, I thought, wait a minute, what? In fact, let's do this together. Let me bring this up and let me ask you what you think about this. Now, I saw this post here, and I saw a bunch of Christians sharing this too. Christians who should know better. I saw this headline. I saw this post here. Israel has obliterated the mausoleum of Simon Peter, the Apostle of Christ, in Shama, southern Lebanon. A sacred site that has stood for over 2,000 years now lies in ruins. This is not self-defense. This is a war crime and a crime against history. I looked at this, and within a few seconds, I thought to myself, wait a minute. So, David, what do you notice here?
I already saw your little tweet, and I saw that people said you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. I have not investigated, so I do not know who is correct.
But what do you notice about this claim here? The
Beautiful.
mausoleum of Simon Peter, the Apostle of Christ, in southern Lebanon. I don't know, man. When I look at this, I think to myself, the mausoleum, the burial place of Simon Peter, the Apostle of Christ, in Shama, southern Lebanon. Wait a minute. Don't we have an entire place in Italy, in Rome, that is built on top of Simon Peter's place?
You don't know where his remains were transported, AP. So you don't know anything. According to tradition, Simon Peter was crucified upside down at his request, and then buried in Lebanon.
And what part of Lebanon was that? What was it called?
Shama.
Ah, okay. So that's the funny thing. It doesn't make any sense. First off, I looked further into what this actually is. It turns out that this place here,
you're gonna get humiliated again.
It turns out that this place here, you can even see it here. Does this look like a Christian place?
You can't just say, "Oh, this doesn't look the way I think it should, therefore it's all wrong," and I'm just going to say it's a mosque. Can't do that.
Well, yes, you're right. You're right. I can't do that. However, I went even further and researched what this place actually is. And it turns out that this is actually a place that has nothing to do with Christians, nothing to do with Christianity, and that is actually under Hezbollah control and Hezbollah administration, under the Hezbollah Religious Affairs Department, which is in charge of preserving Shia religious sites. That's what this actually is. It has no relation to anything Christian at all. In fact, when you look at responses from Lebanese Christians, you will usually get things like this. It is shameful that Ridwan, an ex-Muslim atheist, knows more about Christian history than pretend Catholics, Christians like Sarah or Taylor Marshall, who jump on any occasion to shit on the Jews, even though it goes against literal foundings of their faith. This is only one of many Lebanese Christian reactions. Other Lebanese Christians are like, what are you guys talking about? I have never heard of this place. We have never heard of this place. None of us has any reverence for this place. We don't even go to southern Lebanon, and so on. But you have people across the world sharing this as if it was true. Here's another Lebanese Christian saying, bro, why do they keep lying? St. Peter is not buried there. He's buried in Rome, and that's a mosque. And I went further and actually found more of this place. Oh, that's nice. The person who posted this actually deleted it. There was who? There was, I think there was, who was that? There was Taylor.
It's still up in all kinds of spots.
It was Taylor Marshall. At least he deleted it. At least he deleted it. Shout out to him. I have no idea. I don't know anything about him. At least he deleted it. I said this is not a Christian church. It is a Shia Muslim shrine attributed to an obscure Shama, the prophet. Stop believing everything posted by pro-Palestine propagandists. Here is the thing. Maqam Shamun al-Safa. This here is a symbol that is called, I think, Qaboos. That is a department led by Hezbollah that is in charge of Shia holy sites. That's what it is. It's not Christian. This is the place. It is a mosque with a minaret. And it further says here, the castle is located at an altitude of 4. The castle acquires its name from the name of the place inside its walls, known as the Shrine of the Prophet Shama, or Shimon al-Safa, and attributed primarily to the messenger Shimon. Buried in it in the 1st century AD. The construction of the castle goes back to the 12th century AD. So as you have seen here, the prophet Shama or Shimon al-Safa and attributed primarily to the messenger Shimon. Prophet Shama or Shimon al-Safa, messenger prophet Shimon. Nobody knows who this is. Nobody knows who this is. Which is why this is a site for Shia Muslims, not for Christians. But so many people have shared this, including one of our dear, beloved, recent Christian figures who have been very outspoken about Islam. What's his name? Colin Robinson. He shared it, for example, which was a very big surprise to me. The guy's a Catholic. How does he share dumb stuff like this? It's really, really weird. Anyway, point being, lots of people easily fall for Islamist propaganda in the Middle East, which just shows how naive people are in the West. Gwyneth Isaac said, "Go pound sand, jihadis." Alhamdulillah. Asa, the D Trump impression is amazing, and I adore you, boys. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. David doesn't appreciate it. Carsten Weber, Grüße aus Heidelberg, Deutschland. Grüße nach Heidelberg, Deutschland, Carsten. Comrade Mike Wingelinch says, honestly, Assad deserves to lose. He did nothing these last years but still kept the gun. Not one copy of the God Delusion printed. No Maoist class is sad. That's a good point.
Very good point.
Alien X says, the earth is littered with ruins of empires that believe they were eternal. Nothing is eternal except Greece. Sergeant Broombeard's trajectory, obsequious woman that she is, should be ashamed. This sounds exactly like something Mohammed Hijab would say. Will HTS promises to make Islam peaceful again? For Israel, this is overall a win. I'm not sure about that.
I don't know either. Assad didn't have many ambitions for going down and messing with Israel.
He knew not to mess with Israel.
The new regime might be a bit different.
Speaking of Greece, I was working on a map actually. Wait a minute. Wait.
That's what AP does in his time. Instead of making videos, ladies and gentlemen, he makes maps.
He will not be able to regain their same strength again. Iran's regional government is diminished. HTS has so far made good on their promise to protect minorities. So far, so good. But Taliban. D. Badru, do you think Turkey is trying to get rid of Syrian refugees, or are they actually trying to expand? I think Turkey actually wants to expand. Turkey is a very ambitious, though very incompetent country, but they have
narcissistic. Say it right.
They have a very expansionist, narcissistic tendency to want to expand, and it's very laughable. But they dream of the Ottoman Empire and things like that, and they still have this disease that people around the world often have, which is this thing called irredentism, which is if something was at some point under our control, then it should be under our control again. Same mindset that Putin has. Turks have that same mindset quite frequently, which is just a human sickness, in my opinion. Why can't you just stop? Why can't you just stop and leave people alone and do something with what you have? And this is the difference between Western nations and such nations, for example, where Western nations have been thriving and taking care of their own thing, whereas these states that don't have anything going on for themselves want to fight instead and take over things and destroy stuff. So stupid. Oh yeah, I was going to propose my new map here. So I made a map earlier, which is a new world map that I think should be. What do you think about this, David?
Why not? Why not Greenland?
Nobody wants Greenland. What are you talking about? So all of this would be Greece, but we don't know about Greenland. There is no data about Greenland. This might be something to consider for the future.
And now we all know what AP does with his free time.
Alhamdulillah. Sivako, the pager manufacturing industry is suddenly starting to look like a lucrative business for Israel. Andreas Christensen, wouldn't it be better to name CEAS than Palestina? I think the whole world should be Palestina. Yakov Katzberg, THS to Assad. You're finished. You're hiding, boy. You're finished already. You're finished.
You're finished already. Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done. You're hiding, boy. You're hiding.
Sketch therapy. Is Islam like Marxism? Without outsiders to fight, they fight each other. There is never peace. Just like the revolution is never over. It seems similar. Yes, exactly like that. But worse. Apparatchik, that Jewish ex-spy guy in the chat said, call it Balaganistan, chaos in Russian and Hebrew. Inshallah, that sounds good. Sketch therapy. So Ibadis aren't in endless war. Any others? There are some Sufi strains among Muslims that are also like that. But Ibadis just have this whole thing. Like they disagreed from the very beginning between the Shia and Sunni split. But some of them were very aggressive in saying, both of you are wrong and we will kill you all. Those were known as the Kharijis. But the Ibadis kind of came out of that third way of Islam, but decided to go a more peaceful route of saying, do whatever you want, idiots. We will just build a proper Muslim society. And it actually kind of worked for them, honestly. Ayatollah Khamenei, can we please make this new Muslim Yahya the third mic on the show? I liked 0.5% of what he had to say. It was pretty good. Sketch therapy. Are Marxism and extremism tied in Islamic history? The thing is, I found it so funny to interact with that guy. Honestly, despite the fact that he started insulting me, I find it very cool. Wait, what was the comment just now? Marxism, Islamic history? No. Apostate Prophet was rude to Yahya. Thank you. Appreciate that. Skyscraper philosopher, guys, no matter how evil Islamists like HTS are, there are more evil things around. Look at Assad's death prison, said Naya. Almost 40,000 killed there. I'm pretty sure that Assad is a horrible human being.
Have we ever denied that?
I just do not think that Islamists are better.
No, they're not.
Maybe we'll be proven wrong. I mean, maybe HTS.
Yeah, and go ask any non-Salafi group in the area who they'd rather have in charge.
Maybe we will be wrong. Maybe this Jolani guy is actually a very nice guy, and he will actually internally revolutionize the Salafi movement and create a peaceful environment and all that. Maybe it's right. Maybe we are totally wrong. Maybe we will be completely disproven and disappointed.
Hope so.
I hope so. I just don't trust Salafi jihadists.
Guys, I mean, think. So, skyscraper philosopher, use exactly what you just said and apply it to Saddam Hussein. Oh, but look at all the people Saddam killed. Look, oh my goodness. It's great that he's got. What happened? What'd you get? ISIS. It's what you got. ISIS.
I think Saddam Hussein was an absolutely evil monster, and I think his execution should have taken much longer than what he had on that day. And I know that this is something I say, and David doesn't agree, because David.
Yes, we know you wanted the people to shove things up his butt all day, like they did with Gaddafi.
Because
we know that
Saddam Hussein was genuinely messed up and evil and tyrannical. Assad too, but those who take their place are not necessarily better. Don't support them. Blue Islam, Israel declared 24,000 dunams of J&S as state lands. Cool. Judea and Samaria as state lands. Happened today? I don't know. That's cool. Lloyd 444, AP, you should check out the NET Bible with full notes. NET Bible. What's the NET Bible, David?
I think New English Translation.
I don't trust New English.
I don't trust English at all.
I'll check it out. I don't trust New. Emily Todicescu says, would recommend the NLT Chronological Life Application Study Bible. The new second edition has strong Messianic Jewish perspective in the study notes. NLT.
I think that's New Living Translation.
NLT Chronological Life Application Study Bible. Yep. Interesting stuff. I'm currently happy with my several Bibles, honestly. Summer Nail, do you think this compares to how Hamas started? Talking big talk about democracy, but then turning to terror. Yeah, you probably said this before I said it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would. That's my impression of it. Hamas did the very same thing when they took over. They were like, oh, no, all these worries, all these things that people are saying. No.
And then the Taliban, oh, finally we're taking over. And just so you know, we're a different Taliban. We're going to be great to everybody, especially women. Trust us. Yeah, just get out. Yeah, leave all your stuff.
We love women.
Leave all your stuff. We love women. Trust us, bro. And then the same idiot people watching CNN, oh, it's good. The Taliban got a bad rap by being misrepresented by the media, but now we'll see the real peaceful Taliban.
I learned. But yeah, Hamas did the exact same thing. They came out and were like, "Oh, we're gonna be wonderful. We're gonna take care of this place, man. You're gonna see. You're gonna see actions speak louder than words. We're gonna be. All we care about is our people. Our people. Just trust me, bro." And then they started bombing and torturing and raping and killing and firing, and eventually they have almost been completely crushed. Anna McLeod made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Summer Nail became a YouTube member. Welcome to the club. Just know that there is no way out once you're part of this cult. Summer Nail, do you think this is all just to gain support like Hamas before the Intifada? Paid twice for this question. Didn't have to do that. I would have read it anyway. But yes, exactly. That's what I think. That's exactly what I think. And that's a good point. A life of a vine eternal, said Infidel Castro. For some reason, despite this being a very, very obvious play on words, this is the first time I've ever seen somebody say this. Kind of weird. Anna McLeod, I was about to say that David is doing a great job of disciplining you, AP, when
discipling you.
Discipling. Oh,
Mhm.
No, that makes sense. Approaching from the south, conversation began. Yeah, that's true.
Well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a life-changing experience like me and you go from evil to a shining light of truth and goodness, you still know what it's like to think like an evil person. And therefore, when you hear something, you know exactly what an evil person is going to be thinking. And so when AP is just running his mouth, and I can sense how all the evil, sick people in the chat are what they're hearing, I can point it out to him and tell him to be more careful with his words.
That makes sense. See, Anna, you were misjudging David here. Shame on you.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that was part of me helping him. Like, hey, AP, watch what you're saying. Because you're saying this, but people are hearing this other completely different thing. So,
but the people are retarded.
Tesbot says, "Hi guys, despondent UK citizen here, hearing so many conflicting things about Islam at the moment, trying to figure out if halal meat is done before slaughter, many other things too, so many lies. It's not supposed to be before. You're supposed to take an animal and without imposing unconsciousness or killing on it, slaughter it and let it bleed out as it is. But this would not be a thing that I would greatly concern myself with, honestly, if I was learning about Islam. There are lots of different things that I think are more important, including what Sharia would look like. And sex slavery. Skyscraper philosopher, still Jolani would be beheaded by Al-Qaeda and ISIS for what he said recently, for example, about protecting and including minorities and rule. Well, they would all behead each other. It's not really something that means that he's good. ISIS would happily behead another ISIS if there is an offshoot, and there is actually, of ISIS that has the exact same beliefs as ISIS, but they say ISIS is not doing a good job, we will do a better job, ISIS would still take over and behead them. So it doesn't really mean much. These are just animals that behead each other. They are all animals. They are sick. And among all the animals,
I will choose the cow.
Regit Lassou said, "Keep it up, guys. Love the streams. Keep exposing the religion of peace." Alhamdulillah, thank you. Rasanko Osen defended rumors that the IL-76 carrying Syrian President Assad has either crashed or carried out an emergency landing in the west of Homs. I want to see if there are any more updates here. What do you think, David?
I think no.
Syrian government appears to have fallen in stunning end to 50-year rule of the Assad family. Says they are happy to hand over the government after Assad left. This is what all those people loyal to Assad. I mean, doesn't it look a little bit pathetic right now? He left. The first thing a dictator does, and a dictator like Assad does, is to leave, to get out when things get serious. And the rest of them then stay and go, oh, I guess we can just hand over our power. It's fine. Just take it. Just don't do it. Just don't kill us or anything. Just take it here. I'm sure we can work things out. But Assad himself, he left because they would have brutalized him
and put things into his butt.
Yes,
that's a fact.
Yes, and nobody wants things up his butt. Except Nick Fuentes. Ida Rugo and No Hope word.
I know.
Leftist women naively supporting their own grape. Yeah.
Grapists.
Just like Alidon. Luke Slivkov, it's Bashar all over. Leave over a vine eternal. Me being a terrorist isn't a phase, Mom. It's a lifestyle. That's how he sounds.
That's basically what that guy was saying. It was, everyone goes through a terrorist phase where you go and try to slaughter everyone in the name of
And
Allah.
I'm still young. I'm only 41 years old.
Yeah.
Who knows what the future has in store for us? Asaka Wang Chung by Erdogan. Syrian girl better dust up her hijab.
Everybody have fun tonight.
Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
I'm the best prophet, actually. Tiger Hawk and Dim Boys snacked Damascus. Yes, they did. Itaro goes in. How long before they end Iran will be one against Israel? Iran, no. They will not collaborate with Iran. That's the good thing. They will not work with Iran.
Yeah, so
one good thing about this.
Iran just lost one of their main allies.
Iran was worried because their main ally in the region was Syria, was Assad's Syria. With Assad's Syria gone, Iran is naked. Islamic Iran
naked
is
and
now
afraid.
Naked and afraid. And they are terrified that this will spill over and their own population will overthrow them. And to be honest, while I would be happy to see the Islamic regime of Iran overthrown, if it happens in a bad way, and if it happens with an influx of Sunni Islamists, that wouldn't be a very desirable thing. It's much more unlikely because Iran doesn't have a Sunni population. It has a very highly Shia population. But yeah, the Islamic regime of Iran stands alone right now, and they're terrified. Nobody wants to collaborate with them. The Sunnis don't want to collaborate with them. They hate them. And the Iranians have for years fostered all kinds of games in the Middle East against the other powers, together with Russia and Assad. They're not going to forgive Iran for that.
And I have to say, Hezbollah is not going to be sleeping too comfortably.
That's true.
They're not. Now they've got to worry about other forces coming after them.
That's what they do.
After literally getting their balls blown off.
Yep. Terrorism is a metaphysical matter. This is true. Very, very much so.
It is a metaphysical matter.
Sankey, it's funny how the same commitards who celebrated the Taliban victory are now crying about jihadis taking over Syria and not blaming Russia for it. Nobody knows what they are doing. They have no idea what they're doing. Monologic, you guys have behaved tonight. Here's a few shekels. Get yourself some baklava, inshallah. I will never get myself baklava with money. Never going to happen. But thank you. OJ Nafta, thoughts on Biden's pardon of his crack-headed son? I think it's based. The first thing you should do as a father is to pardon your crackhead son. That's it.
Yeah, I have to say, if President of the United States, you want to support the rule of law and basically say everything that Biden was saying, in the past about what's going to happen. But if you know you're about to go out, your career is over, Seriously, how would you not pardon your son in that hey, look, I do not have some career ahead of me. I'm old. I can barely walk. I can barely think. I have one opportunity to go down in history. Yeah, the party's going to be upset. Yeah, everyone's going to make fun of me, but what the heck? I can stop my son from spending 15 years in prison and possibly implicating me for any of my connections. Of course I'm going to do that.
Yep. I mean, in all honesty, those who you support will probably do the same thing if they were in that position.
It reminds me of the Chris Cuomo, the Chris Cuomo. So this guy was on CNN, but he's helping his brother through some scandals and stuff and giving him advice. And then of course he loses his job for that and so on. And okay, you're as a reporter, as a journalist, you have obligations to do this with integrity, not to give your brother an unfair advantage and so on. But as a brother,
help out a brother.
Same thing. As president of the United States, this is what you're supposed to do. As a father, now the issue here is of course,
help a brother.
The issue here, of course, is how much of that was, Biden looking out for himself simultaneously.
Of course, he was covering his own.
Yeah, but and with the son, I have to say, because I've had this situation with family members and so on, with drug addiction and so on. There are times when you're like, I would rather my brother be locked up in prison where he doesn't have open access to drugs. Because it's actually safer for him there. So if Hunter Biden is still clean and he's not messing around, and he's completely reformed his character and so on, then I could see wanting to get him apart. And guys, keep in mind, I'm not saying do this. I'm saying I understand it. I understand. No, come on, I can take the bullet on this one to help my son. But if he's not and he's still messing around, prison might have been a better spot for him, man. Keeps you clean. Don't know. Crack's a hell of a drug.
I mean, it's corruption. Of
course it is.
It's corruption. It's a misuse of power. It is something that is ideally not to be done.
Mm-hmm.
However, let's face it. It is a corrupt system.
Yeah. and again, it's I'm not saying do it. I'm saying I understand it. Right. It's like when a police officer arrests some teenager and then finds out, oh, that's the son of another cop, one of my fellow cops. What do? They call up the other cop and say, hey, we just arrested your kid. Come over here and get him before anything happens and stuff like that. So they'll look out for a fellow cop. They'll look out for a fellow cop, understanding that they are not applying the system equally. They're pulling some strings to help out a fellow cop. So it sucks. It sucks because you're one of the people, you're from the family that they never look out for, and they always try to hem up as much as they can. And this guy gets a free pass over here, and this politician's son, he gets a free pass and so on. So it does suck, but at the end of the day, you understand that sort of thing. People look out for their families.
Yeah. Donald Trump also made some questionable pardons before he left office last time.
You're going to see that a lot more. Because now, guess what? After Biden just did it, it's going to be at the end of whatever. My prediction now, 4 years from now, you're going to see Trump pardoning all kinds of people. When people complain, what? How could he pardon all these people? What? Look at what Biden did. Biden did it for his own son. How are you going to condemn Trump? And then, of course, the next regime after that, they're going to pardon even more. And pretty soon, prisons of America will be all empty because everyone will be pardoned.
Trump never claimed to not be a crook element.
And that's the real issue. The real issue is that Biden was saying, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Rule of law, rule of law, rule of law.
That's the bad thing.
If he just kept his mouth shut all the time, he'd be like, is he going to do it? If so, I can understand that. Is he not going to do it? I can understand that too.
To be fair, he might not even know that he did it.
That's true. That might be Mr. President, could you sign this paper? Oh, what? What's a paper? What's a paper? Come on, help me. Come on, there's no joke here. What is going on? Just sign it. Okay.
Seriously, it's no joke. I'm serious right now. Mark K. Sarah Carlson, who was in Tripoli during the Benghazi attacks, was on the Sean Ryan podcast. She claims the U.S. is sending $40 million to Afghanistan every week. If we are, this proves how weak the Biden administration is. I don't know anything about that. I don't trust anybody. Eli, thank you, Eli. Always. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Eli said, love you both. And made a super chat.
And we love you, Eli.
$200. We love you too. Only because $200. If you made a super chat of $5 and said, we love you both, I would not even look at it. But because
we
it's
would be like, he obviously doesn't really love you.
Yeah, if he really loved us, he would do $200 super chats. If he did $5, I would be like, okay, man, I get it. What is this? Love, love, love. I don't care. But now that I see 200, I appreciate it. We love you too. Alhamdulillah. Yahya Skin Ward says.
Very rude.
AP, I will get you in a moment. You're disrespectful. I'm trying to talk to my new wife. She hasn't learned her ABCs yet. Hey, don't do Yahya Skin War like that.
I'm not going to make fun of Yahya at all because he was very respectful towards me.
Very respectful toward me after he said that he's disgusted by me and he doesn't feel honored talking to me.
And he called you an ugly mouth something. Ugly mouth. What did he say? And it's ugly mouth. That was awesome. Classic Yahya.
I don't know why, but I was in a very good mood yesterday during the whole stream. So I quite enjoyed all the insults that we got.
Hey, dude. Yeah, we need to eventually get to where it's just like again, is open challenge to everyone who wants to call in. We got like 4 or 5 people.
That's what they do. Look at my thing on Syrian girl watching Al Jolani CNN interview, wanting I can change him. Michael Feldman, Saddam is not a good example. His people hated him and his sons were nuts. That is true. Saddam was more extreme. That is true.
Yeah, no, he's an example, and he is a perfect example. He's an example of, matter of fact, that makes him a perfect example. People hated him. His sons were nuts. If anyone has to go, and the world is going to be a better place for getting rid of him, it's him. And what do you get? ISIS. Is that better? I don't think it was.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. You should interview Jolani, the star of the show. That'd be nice. I will go to Syria to for a chance to interview Jolani. Let's see what happens. I'm planning on traveling to Syria soon to interview the leader of HTS, Mr. Jolani, who obviously had a transformation and turned into a much better person. See how that goes. I might live stream it. Carl Bruce said, AB, don't even acknowledge us that don't give any money. Exactly. Like, I don't even look at the comments here that are not attached to $200. Saddam is not a good example. And Wyckoff, what's up, Ann? I heard that the Syrian Christians were already in trouble. Do you have any news about their fate? Last thing I saw was that they were a little bit concerned, and lots of them were going to the Kurdish territories. That's all I know. Fractal Machine. Him saying all that slavery, genocide, and evil was in his past, but now he's different. Cue the South Park Saddam song. I can change. Exactly. They don't change. They never change. Islamists never change. David, if you're here, I would greet you like Yahya greeted Ismail Haniya. You are polite, unlike that poultry peasant. You know what I found funny about Yahya Sinwar yesterday?
What?
He kept calling Avery. Avery.
No, didn't you ask at some point who is Avery or what?
No, I did mock him for several things, but Avery. Saki. The NET Bible has all translated notes to help clarify issues of translation and textual variants of the text. Free online, very recommended for study. Based. Counsel and might, I'll take that into consideration. I'm a Lebanese Baptist pastor and very concerned about Christians' fate in Syria. Tell me more about this. Tell me more about this, Mr. Counsel and might. I would appreciate that. I want to get some voices of people from the region. I know of some people from Lebanon and Syria who are Christians and who have strong opinions on this kind of stuff. Many also from Lebanon, Christians who either want to stay out of the whole situation with Israel or who support Israel. I don't really know who to talk to, though, when I look at Lebanese Christians.
I can solve the whole thing right now. Very simple. All the Sunnis in Lebanon go over to Syria. All the Shias in Lebanon, you go over to Iran. And all of the Christians in Syria go down to Lebanon. Problem solved. Things just don't work out when Christians are under the control of Muslims, or when a minority Muslim group is under the control of a majority Muslim group. Never works out very well.
Hold up.
What?
Syrians celebrate the fall. IDF tanks have entered and captured the Syrian town of Al-Quneitra in the Golan Heights DMZ, demilitarized zone. What? What the hell is this? IDF crossed the border.
Oh, they crossed the line. Dizzle likes line crossing, habitual line crossing.
Is this confirmed? I see some people reporting on IDF movements. Probably some preventative measures. That's it.
I mean, you would want a pretty good buffer zone between you and these guys.
Syrian rebels declare Damascus free. Claim Bashar Assad has fled the capital. The officials themselves confirmed that he already fled. I don't know why they say they claim. Apparently there are some reports of IDF advancing into the Golan demilitarized zone, apparently to establish security and prevent Islamist forces from taking it or trying to get closer to Israel or something like that. No fighting, just establishing security based. Frog Club, you watch Charles Veitch channel at all? Now I understand why they call it Londonistan. I didn't realize there was that much diversity in the UK. I don't know who Charles Veitch is, but yes, the UK is very diverse. And
yeah, if you were in certain areas of London and you didn't know where you were and you woke up and you looked around, you think you were in Saudi Arabia or something.
Alhamdulillah. Ash McElroy said there is no way these guys can get Assad. Assad knows Wing Chun. Does he? I saw a photo of him where he looks like a starving person wearing short shorts and having his arms together like this. I don't know. I have doubts about this. Brother, I have doubts.
What doubts, man? Brother, I have doubts.
How many times did Biden say no one is above the law? Well, that doesn't include him.
Or his son. So why do you find this confusing, Ann?
Yeah. Plus, as said, we don't know if he is aware that he pardoned his son. We don't know that.
Yeah, you're blaming this guy for something he may literally have no clue about. He may have. You could walk up and ask him right now, and he may what? Huh? What? It's not a joke. It's not a joke, man. I don't know.
Right now. Skyscraper philosopher. Anyway, let's be happy for the people emerging from decaying regime dungeons and being reunited with their families for the first time in years. That is one thing. While I personally cannot feel bad or relieved for anyone, Assad held lots of people in dungeons who apparently experienced lots of torture and so on, which is why these are animals. Both sides are led by animals. Many of them are animals. Many of the fighters are animals. Many of the participating groups are animals. This is why I think it should be turned into a place where there is a free-for-all part in the middle of Syria where all the animals can just go and kill each other. I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is the Kurds and Israel and the Christians and so on. Navid says Shimon, it's a Hebrew name. Shama is also Hebrew. It means hear. Yeah, I know. Pretty good. Sanke, what would be a peace jihadi name in a parallel universe? I'll have to think about that. I already have a jihadi name. What are you talking about? Okay, David, anything else? Let me see the latest news here and the latest live updates. David, anything else?
No, there's nothing new. Nothing new.
Nothing new under the sun.
Under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. Vanity and vanity.
Let's look at the final state of Syria. The final state of Syria. All those that are only lightly in red here are just under dispute right now. But considering that Assad fled the country, or fled the capital at least, and the prime minister said, I'm happy to hand over everything, you can already count all of this as part of Islamist rule now. The only part that is currently questioned is this part here, which, as said, is not a mostly Sunni-controlled region. That is where usually the Shia and Alawi section of the population is concentrated. But this is the current situation. Islamists have taken control. The Syrian government has officially fallen. The Syrian government officials have officially declared that Assad is no longer in charge and have abandoned their positions. Some people fled. Other people are just handing it over now. It is pretty much official after... Damn, how long has this been going on? After... 13 years. Nearly 14 years of civil war. Assad's regime is done. It is fallen. The Islamists, together united with other rebel groups, have taken over. And we will see how this unfolds right now. For all those thinking that this is the end of the conflict, it's not. This is not the end of the civil war. It's not the end of the conflict, unless, of course, they can figure out something very, very quickly with this part of the population that does not trust the Islamists at all. They are scared right now. They're terrified right now. And to this part of the population, the Kurds, who are a little bit nervous about the whole situation right now. They should just get their own state. And then there is still ISIS trying to take advantage of the situation here. I would be happy if these other Islamists wiped out ISIS. But the conflict here in Syria is not over. It's very, very far from over. Assad is over. Assad is done. The conflict is not done yet. Wish for all the best for all the good people involved, which are not most of the people in Syria. But thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I wish everybody all the best, except Islamists. Thanks everyone for joining. Village people said Damascus has fallen. Any update? Iran alone? Yeah. Good riddance to Assad and his regime. And wish everyone all the best. Thanks everybody. We will be live together on David's channel tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow, David?
Something based.
You heard it here. Very exciting. Something based. We will be looking forward to doing something based tomorrow. It's gonna be super based,
extremely based,
and then
based factor will be off the charts. What we're going to do is have an institution of basedness for all you who love institutions and institutionalization.
And what
we will
matters,
institutionalize being based on
what
the show.
matters is that there is always a context to things, and we should look at the actions and not at the words. And what's important right now is that there are institutions, and if you take the institutions into consideration, and also the fact that I'm a very young person, there is hope for the future, and we will see how things will unfold under the institutions of institutionalism.
Finally, AP is speaking clearly.
Alhamdulillah. Thanks everyone for watching. As always, have a fantastic day. Also, in the beginning of the week, I want to talk about Nazis and Christianity, considering that gropers and other Nazis have tried to take advantage of Christian sentiments and make it look like Nazis were totally cool Christian guys. They were not. Nazi ideology and Christianity do not go hand in hand. They are very opposite to each other. And I can say that as somebody who is not publicly a Christian. And
well, if you were to say that to Nick Fuentes, he would mace you.
Yes, alhamdulillah. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and as always, stay away from institutions. Oh, sorry. What was I going? Oh yeah, my goat here. Thanks everyone for watching, and as always, in other words,
stay away from Islam.